Chapter 119. Hearing the voice, everyone turned to look at the door at the same time. A little girl of 3 or 4 years old appeared at the door. She had a head of long black hair, a jade-like face, and big eyes like the stars. Coupled with a pink gauze dress, she looked like a princess from a fairy tale or a large doll. She was really very cute. Whose child was this? She was so cute. Her parents must be very beautiful, or they would never have given birth to such an elf-like little girl. Just when everyone was puzzled, the little girl threw herself into Qin Haodong's arms like a bird and kissed him on both cheeks. "Papa, I miss you so much. Oh my God, this is Qin Haodong's daughter." Everyone in the room was stunned. No one had expected Qin Haodong to have such a big daughter. Especially Zhu Linlin and Zhang Xiaowei. They were even more confused at this time. They had just laughed at Qin Haodong for not being able to find a wife, and in the blink of an eye, his daughter ran to them, and she was tens of thousands of times cuter than the little black boy in Zhu Linlin's arms. Qin Haodong was not surprised by the little fellow's arrival at all. He had already sent his location to Lin Momo before entering the door. "Tang Tang, where's Mama?" "Mama is behind me." The little fellow pointed back. Everyone's eyes gathered at the door again. A woman in a white professional suit came in. She looked about 20 years old. Although she was wearing a professional suit, it still could not hide her hot figure. She was curvy, especially the 2 towering mountains on her chest, which were enough to shatter the pride of all the women present. What was more eye-catching than her figure was her appearance, which was almost perfect and impeccable. There were no dead angles, and it was extremely exquisite. She had the face of an angel and the body of a devil. The room was strangely quiet for a moment, and only the sound of some male creature swallowing could be heard occasionally. This woman was not only beautiful, but also had a hot figure and a strong aura. As soon as she appeared, she shocked everyone in the room. Lin Momo moved her sexy long legs and came to Qin Haodong's side under everyone's gaze. She reached out and took his arm. After looking around, she said domineeringly, "Who said my husband can't find a wife? He just doesn't like ordinary rotten leaves." Suddenly, there was a dead silence in the room. Everyone had different reactions. The boys were full of envy, jealousy, and hatred for Qin Haodong. They couldn't understand how a poor boy like him could find such a noble and beautiful woman. The girls were extremely shocked. The woman in front of them had a noble temperament, and her looks were off the charts. Moreover, one look and they could tell that she was a person of wealth and status. This kind of woman could no longer be simply described as fair, rich and beautiful. In comparison, people like them could only be called coarse branches and rotten leaves. Zhang Xiaowei, who had been aggressive just a moment ago, was now like an old hen whose neck had been strangled, unable to make any sound. She had always been an unforgiving woman. Her words were extremely mean, and she had never given people any leeway. But at this time, she had completely lost her fighting spirit. Facts spoke louder than words. Lin Momo only needed to stand beside Qin Haodong to make the most powerful counterattack. Now she was completely defeated and had nothing to say. She had been slapped in the face. As a former pursuer of Qin Haodong, Zhu Linlin's face was the ugliest at this time. The hateful woman who had just come in had said that she, who had always been proud, was a coarse branch and rotten leaves. This was unacceptable in any case. She wanted to fight back, but when she saw Lin Momo's impeccable beauty and noble temperament, she suddenly felt that she couldn't say anything. The tall black man, Cafu, originally knew little about Huaxia, so when Ma Wenjue and others were quarreling, he had never spoken. But there was no need for words to recognize a beauty. When he saw Lin Momo, Cafu immediately widened his eyes and almost drooled. He ran forward and said in stiff Huaxia language, "Hello, beautiful lady. My name is Cafu. I come from the powerful M country. I have a business in Huaxia, and my assets can reach tens of millions. Can we be friends?" After that, Cafu reached out his big black hand to Lin Momo, his face full of expectation. Seeing this scene in front of her, Zhu Linlin's face suddenly became even uglier. She was sitting next to him, but her husband went to talk to another woman, which really made her lose face. However, a woman like her, who completely depended on a man to survive, had no status at home. Although her heart was full of anger, she dared not show it. I don't like black, and I don't want to be friends with you. After Lin Momo finished speaking, she didn't even have the interest to look at Kafu again, let alone shake hands with him. She directly turned her head to Qin Haodong. Kafu didn't expect this Huaxia girl to refuse him. After a stunned look, he shouted, "You can't do this. As long as you are with me, I can buy you gifts and give you money, a lot of money." Lin Momo didn't expect this big black man to be endless. She showed a face of disgust, but this time she didn't even have the interest to talk, so she went directly to the other side of Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong glanced at Kafu, and a sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth. This black man was really ignorant. He dared to say that 10 million yuan of assets was a lot of money. Even Lin Momo's pocket money was 10 times more than his. Although Kafu's face was very black and thick, he also felt embarrassed at this time and retreated in embarrassment. Seeing Zhang Xiaohui, Zhu Linlin, and others being humiliated one after another, Ma Wenjue, as a best friend and close brother, was very happy. He punched Qin Haodong's chest fiercely. "Your daughter is so big, but you hide it from me. Do you still regard me as a brother?" Qin Haodong pretended to cover his chest with a painful face. There was no way to explain this kind of thing, so he could only muddle through. "Uncle, you can't hit my papa," the little fellow said unhappily. No. Your father and I are best friends. We are just playing." Ma Wenjue said with a loving face, "Tang, can you let uncle hug you? Are you really a friend of papa?" The little fellow blinked her big eyes and asked. "Of course, I used to wear the same pants as your father," Ma Wenjue said. "Well, papa's friend can hug me." "Great, Tang is so cute." After Ma Wenjue finished speaking, he took the little fellow from Qin Haodong's arms. He looked very loving and careful, as if he was holding a rare treasure. After holding the little fellow in his arms, he remembered that Lin Momo was next to him. He quickly said, "Hello, sister-in-law. My name is Ma Wenjue. Haodong, we are best friends." It was the first time that someone called her sister-in-law. Lin Momo's cheeks turned red. She saw that the relationship between Ma Wenjue and Qin Haodong was really not ordinary. She said politely, "Hello, Lin Momo. Sister-in-law, don't stand there. Sit down." At this time, the depression in Ma Wenjue's chest was swept away. He warmly invited Lin Momo to sit down, and then he also pulled a chair and sat next to Qin Haodong. The little fellow looked around and said to Qin Haodong, "Papa, can I play with that little friend?" At Qin Haodong's age, there were not many classmates who were married, and there were even fewer who had children. Now in the private room, the little black boy was Tang's only playmate. Of course. Although Qin Haodong did not like Zhu Linlin's behavior very much, a child was a child after all. He did not think much about it. He directly put the little fellow on the ground and let her play with the little black boy. Children's minds were much simpler than that of adults. Soon, the two children played together. Ma Wenjue looked at the two children standing together and said with emotion, "There is no harm without comparison." Qin Haodong understood what he meant. The little black boy was not likable, and now he was standing next to Tang. It was really a bit tragic, but he still said, "They are all children. You'd better be kind to them. She is a good Huaxia person, but she has to find a big black guy. I really don't understand what she is thinking." Ma Wenjue muttered and then said no more. After what had just happened, the room seemed a little awkward. Fortunately, it was approaching the time of the party. More and more students came, and the atmosphere gradually became lively. At this time, a beautiful girl walked into the private room. As soon as she entered the door, all the girls in the room surrounded her. "Wenqing, you are here. Wenqing, come sit with me. Qin Haodong knew this girl. She was his junior high school classmate, Wu Wenqing. But when they were in school, she did not show much and usually did not talk much. He did not know why she suddenly became popular. He said to Ma Wenjue, "Is this Wu Wenqing? What is she doing now? Why is she so popular?" Ma Wenjue said, "Wu Wenqing is very good now. She learned jade appraisal from her grandfather. She just passed the appraisal some time ago. Now she is one of the few jade appraisers in our Wufeng County. She works in the jade store of Lin's group in Wufeng County. Girls nowadays like to buy some jewelry, and they want to ask Wu Wenqing to help them. That's why she is so popular." "Oh." Qin Haodong nodded and turned back to whisper in Lin Momo's ear, "I didn't expect to see an employee of Lin's group. Do you know her?" Feeling Qin Haodong's breath, Lin Momo felt a burst of heat on her cheeks. She said, "There are 20 or 30 branches of Lin's group, and the branch in Wufeng County is the lowest level. How can I know all the employees?" Qin Haodong thought about it and agreed. Lin's group was really too big. Although compared to Lin Momo, Wu Wenqing was the lowest employee, but over there, a group of female students surrounded her like stars around the moon, and they were very enthusiastic. "Wenqing, help me check this. This is a jade bracelet I bought a few days ago when I was traveling. Is it real? What? Fake? Oh my god, my 800 yuan is wasted. Wenqing, how much do you think my gem necklace is worth?" "Wenqing," the ring seller said, "mine is mutton fat jade. Do you think it's real?" Wu Wenqing was quite easygoing. She patiently answered the questions of many female students one by one. After getting the answer, some of these female students were happy, and some looked bitter. When everyone had seen enough, the room slowly quieted down. Zhu Linlin glanced at Lin Momo and Qin Haodong, raised the big diamond ring on her hand, and gave it to Wu Wenqing. She deliberately raised her voice and said, "Wenqing, help me check this. This is a birthday gift from my husband. How much is it worth?" Chapter 120. Wu Wenqing took Zhu Linlin's ring and held it in his hand. He looked at it carefully and said, "Linlin, this diamond ring of yours is good. Whether it's color, clarity, or cutting, it's of the best quality. It's estimated to be about 500,000 yuan." Hearing that a ring was worth 500,000 yuan, the girls around her all looked at her with envy. Zhu Linlin said proudly, "It's really worth 500,000 yuan. I didn't believe it when my husband gave it to me at first. It's just a birthday and he gave me such an expensive gift. Although his family is rich, it's too wasteful. Oh my god, a 500,000 yuan birthday gift. Linlin, you're so lucky. I'll be satisfied if my boyfriend gives me a 50,000 yuan diamond ring on my birthday in a few days. Linlin, your husband is so rich." Zhu Linlin became more and more proud and said, "It's not easy for a woman to find a husband who spoils her, and it's even more difficult to find a rich husband who can spoil her. Not everyone can afford a 500,000 yuan diamond ring, not even a toy boy." After that, she also looked at Qin Haodong provocatively. The meaning in her eyes was self-evident. Wu Wenqing didn't make a fuss like other girls. As a jewelry appraiser, her vision was naturally high. She often saw jewelry worth 5 million yuan, let alone 500,000 yuan. She reached out and handed the ring back to Zhu Linlin. But when she reached out halfway, she suddenly looked excited and looked to the side with dull eyes. This abnormal behavior immediately attracted the attention of all the girls. They all looked in the direction of Wu Wenqing's eyes, but they saw nothing unusual except that Tang Tang was holding a green stone and playing with it. "What's wrong, Wenqing?" Zhu Linlin asked. Wu Wenqing didn't say anything. She directly put the ring in her hand and then quickly came to Tang Tang. She looked excited and said, "Little girl, can you lend me the stone in your hand to have a look? I thought it was something important." "What's so interesting about a broken stone?" Zhu Linlin said discontentedly. She had just used the ring to show off and hadn't had enough fun, but Wu Wenqing's action had diverted everyone's attention. Naturally, she was unhappy. The other students didn't understand what was wrong with Wu Wenqing. She was calm when she saw Zhu Linlin's ring, which was worth 500,000 yuan. Why was she so excited when she saw a stone? The little fellow looked at Wu Wenqing and said, "Auntie, this is a toy from Papa. Mama said I can't show it to anyone." "Then hold it in your hand and let Auntie have a look." Wu Wenqing didn't care about the comments of the surrounding students at all. He was still looking at the green stone in the little fellow's hand with an excited expression. The little fellow hesitated and said, "Okay, but I can only look." After saying that, Tang Tang handed the green stone to Wu Wenqing. Wu Wenqing held the little fellow's hand and looked more and more excited. He murmured, "King's green. King's green. King's king green. King's Qing." Zhang Xiaoyi pushed Wu Wenqing and said, "Wenqing, are you stupid? Why are you talking to a rock?" Wu Wenqing took a deep breath to calm his excitement and said, "You don't know about gems. This is not an ordinary stone, but the most precious jade, the Ice King Green." "Jade? Is it valuable?" Zhang Xiaoyi's family was very ordinary. She had never heard of King's Green. "It's valuable. Of course it's valuable," Wu Wenqing murmured. She hadn't fully recovered from the shock. "Look at you. No matter how valuable it is, it can't be more valuable than Linlin's ring," Zhang Xiaoyi said. "It's not comparable. It's not comparable," Wu Wenqing said and stood up, but he was still looking at the jade in the little fellow's hand reluctantly. "I said it's not comparable. My husband gave me a ring worth 500,000 yuan. It's not comparable to a stone." Zhu Linlin knew that the little fellow was Qin's daughter, so she wouldn't let go of any opportunity to belittle him. Unexpectedly, as soon as she finished speaking, she heard Wu Wenqing say, "What I mean is that your ring can't be compared to this stone. This is the best ice imperial green, worth at least 100 million yuan. If you exchange it for your ring, you can buy at least 200 or 300 of them. It's impossible. It's impossible. How can such a broken stone be more expensive than my diamond ring?" Zhu Linlin was a little hysterical. She had always felt that she was richer than Qin Haodong. This was the root of her inner sense of superiority. If she was trampled on again, she would have nothing. While speaking, she reached out to grab the raw jade stone in the little fellow's hand. "Show me what kind of stone this is. How can it be so valuable?" "No, it's my toy." The little fellow dodged Zhu Linlin. Recently, she had been practicing Shantian Sutra and had achieved some results. She was more than 10 times faster than children of the same age. "Papa, that bad auntie is going to grab my toy." The little fellow ran to Qin Haodong and threw herself into his arms. Qin Haodong took the raw jade stone from the little fellow's hand and said, "Tang Tang, Papa has told you that this toy should be kept at home. You can't take it outside. Otherwise, children from poor families and parents who have no money to buy toys will definitely grab it when they see it." What he said was completely in the tone of educating a child, but everyone could hear that it was a slap in Zhu Linlin's face. "Qin Haodong, make it clear. Who are you calling poor? Who don't have money to buy toys for children? Let me tell you, my husband has a net worth of more than 10 million yuan. The diamond ring on my hand is worth 500,000 yuan. Don't think that you can cheat people with a broken stone. You can cheat others, but you can't cheat me at all. Don't I know how poor your family is?" While she was chattering, Wu Wenqing saw Lin Momo, who was next to Qin Haodong. She had just calmed down and became excited again. She walked 2 steps to Lin Momo and said with a little nervousness, "Hello, are you President Lin?" Although she was also an employee of Lin's group, she had never seen Lin Momo in person. She had only seen Lin Momo's photos inside the group. Lin Momo nodded and said, "It's me." "Great, President Lin, I finally meet you." "You are my idol," Wu Wenqing said excitedly. Qin Haodong said, Momo, this is my junior high school classmate Wu Wenqing. She works in your group. Take care of her in the future. Wu Wenqing saw Qin Haodong and said, Haodong, I was too busy just now and didn't have time to talk to you. When did you come back? How do you know President Lin? The two had a good relationship when they were at school, so they didn't hesitate to talk. Before Qin Haodong could speak, the little fellow cried, Auntie, this is my papa, and this is my mama. Hearing the little fellow's words, Wu Wenqing's eyes instantly widened. She never thought that Qin Haodong could be with her idol. Since Qin Haodong had spoken, she had to give him face. She said to Wu Wenqing, I see that you are very good at jade appraisal. Have you studied it professionally? Wu Wenqing said, I've liked jade since I was a child. My grandfather is an expert in this field. I learned a lot from him and became a first-class appraiser a few days ago. Good, your eyes are very sharp. You can see that this is the Ice King green, and the appraisal is accurate. You do have the qualification to be an appraiser. Lin Momo said, since you are Haodong's classmate, we are not strangers. Would you like to come to the headquarters of the group? Yes. Of course. Wu Wenqing said hurriedly. It was the dream of every employee of Lin's group to be able to enter the headquarters of the group. Because the headquarters not only paid well, but also had more opportunities and more room for improvement. Because of this, it was extremely difficult for ordinary people to enter the headquarters of the group. Lin Momo said, well, get ready tomorrow and report to the headquarters the day after tomorrow. The initial salary is 50,000 yuan. If you perform well in the future, you can raise it again. Everyone present was shocked. They never dreamed that Qin Haodong's girlfriend turned out to be the president of Lin's group. Everyone in Jiangnan City knew about Lin's group. It was one of the largest financial groups. If ordinary people worked there, they could enter the high-income group in one step. At the same time, Lin's group's jade industry was well known in Huaxia. At this time, no one doubted that the jade in the little fellow's hand was a stone. Zhang Xiaohui was dumbfounded. She never thought that Qin Haodong, who she looked down on the most, would be the president of Lin's group. No wonder his child could play with jade that was worth 100 million yuan. That was because he was rich. Zhu Linlin was the most irritated. Lin's group's industry was as high as tens of billions. It was ridiculous that she just showed off her husband's industry, which was worth more than 10 million yuan. It was nothing in front of Lin's group. She had always liked to show off the diamond ring on her hand, but now it couldn't be compared with the toy in the hands of Qin Haodong's child. She had no capital to show off at all. It seemed that compared with Qin Haodong, she was indeed a real poor person. What's the big deal? So what if you have money? Good health is the most important thing. Who among you can be stronger than my husband? Zhu Linlin reluctantly found a reason to comfort herself, and then sat back in her seat. This time, she took off the diamond ring and put it in her bag. She never took it out to show off again. However, everyone knew that she was seeking self-comfort. Those envious eyes that looked at her turned into sarcasm. As Zhu Linlin and Zhang Xiaohui closed their mouths, the matter just passed. The students began to chat in groups of 2 or 3 again, but the focus obviously shifted to Lin Momo and Qin Haodong. Ma Wenjue said in Qin Haodong's ear, Dongzi, you're really good. You even got the president of Lin's group. Don't look at me like that, okay? I'm not a man who lives off a woman. Qin Haodong smiled and said, what are you busy with recently? Would you like to come to Jiangnan to help me? He knew that his brother was still very talented, but he lacked the opportunity to show it. If he could come to Jiangnan City to help him, it would definitely be a great help. Ma Wenjue said with a smile, well, I heard that there are many beautiful women in Lin's group. The salary is not a big deal. The key is to solve personal problems. Qin Haodong said with a smirk, you don't have to think about beautiful women. I opened a security company. I don't have beautiful women, but I have a group of men. I can find all kinds of men. Ma Wenjue instantly got goosebumps and cried, "What the hell, I don't have such a heavy taste like you." Qin Haodong said, "Come to me, your salary will not be lower than Wu Wenqing's. We're brothers, don't talk about money. Anyway, I can feed myself and my family is not hungry. You can take care of my meals." Chapter 121. Zhu Linlin quickly ran over and asked, "Kanhua, what's wrong with you?" "It's all her fault. It's all her fault." The little black boy pointed at her and said. The little fellow looked innocent and explained, "Auntie, it's not my fault. I just gave him a piece of chocolate." He bit his finger. It turned out that the two children were having a good time together. She took out 2 pieces of dark chocolate from her pocket, one for herself and the other for Kanhua. The little black boy had never eaten chocolate before. He thought it was delicious, but after 2 bites, he bit his finger. In Huaxia, there was a joke that black people couldn't eat dark chocolate because it was easy to bite their fingers. No one expected that they would meet the reality version today. So after listening to the little fellow, everyone immediately understood what was going on and couldn't help laughing. Ma Wenjue laughed so hard that he couldn't catch his breath and said, "It's so funny. It's really funny. This child is so cruel. He bit himself like this. There's really no one else like him." Zhu Linlin was distressed and angry when she saw her son bite her finger. She shouted angrily at the little fellow, "Who asked you to give him chocolate? We usually don't buy it for him. Why did you give it to him?" Ma Wenjue said, "Zhu Linlin, can you be more shameless? She gave your son food because of unity and friendship. How dare you criticize her? You can only blame your son for being too dark and unable to distinguish fingers from chocolate." After he finished speaking, the students around him also began to talk about it. Everyone one-sidedly said that it was not the little fellow's fault. Zhu Linlin shouted angrily, "What are you talking about? You just think he's rich. You can't do this to flatter him. Linlin, how can you talk like this? We are talking reason with you. What does it have to do with flattery? Zhu Linlin, can you be reasonable? We are all classmates. Is it necessary to do this?" Just as everyone was arguing with Zhu Linlin, the little black boy seemed to have sensed his mother's emotions and became crazy. He rushed toward the little fellow viciously and slammed his black head into the little fellow's face. The people next to her exclaimed. Although they were all children, Tang Tang's cute face would definitely be hurt if she bumped into them. Maybe her nose would be broken. However, it was too sudden, and there were no adults around the two children. It was too late to stop them. Just when everyone was sweating for the little fellow, Tang Tang suddenly flashed to the side and nimbly avoided Kano's collision. But after she dodged, because Kanhua used too much force, he couldn't stop even if he wanted to. All of a sudden, he crashed into the corner of the table at the side, and a bloody wound immediately opened up on his forehead, fresh blood flowing out. Wah! The little black boy didn't bump into the little fellow, but he was injured again. He felt extremely wronged and started crying like a wolf. It's all your fault that my son got hurt again." Zhu Linlin vented all her anger on the little fellow. "Don't blame me. He was the one who hit me." The little fellow looked aggrieved as he tried his best to explain. But at this time, a big black claw grabbed the little fellow's chest. It turned out that Crawford, who was standing on the side, was angry. He also blamed his son's injury on Tang Tang. Although the little fellow's physical quality was far better than that of her peers, the time of practicing Shantian Sutra was too short after all, and she couldn't be compared with adults. Seeing that Crawford's big hand was about to grab Tang Tang's chest, another hand stretched out from the side and grabbed Crawford's wrist with a bang. Qin Haodong's hand was much smaller than Kafu's, and his arm was not as strong as the muscular Kafu's. But with such a casual grab, Kafu's thick arm seemed to be fixed, and it was difficult to move forward. "Huaxia man, you're courting death," Crawford yelled, and his other fist hit Qin Haodong's face with the sound of the wind. Chin Haodong raised his hand and grabbed Crawford's other wrist. Crawford wanted to struggle, but he couldn't shake Chin Haodong's hands with all his strength, as if he was clamped by an iron clamp. Black man, I'll let you go this time for the sake of the class reunion. If you dare to touch my daughter again next time, I'll break your bones. After Chin Haodong finished speaking, he gently pushed his hands forward. Crawford's body, which weighed 200 kilograms, flew out in the air, smashed several chairs in succession, and rolled on the ground a few times. Finally, he hit the wall and stopped. The people present were frightened. They didn't expect that Chin Haodong, who didn't look strong, could easily deal with the tall Crawford. Chin Haodong held the little fellow in his arms. Tang Tang said with a wronged face, "Papa, it's really not my fault. I just gave him a piece of chocolate." "I know, it's not your fault. Tang Tang is a good girl." Chin Haodong comforted her. Zhu Linlin had just lifted her son, and she didn't expect her husband to be beaten to crawl on the ground. She roared angrily, "Chin Haodong, what do you want to do?" "It's not what I want to do, but what do your family want to do?" Chin Haodong's expression was completely cold. He didn't care about Zhu Linlin's sarcasm just now. After all, they were classmates. But now this black man dared to hurt his daughter, which was absolutely unforgivable. "It's your child's lack of education that caused my son to suffer such a serious injury. You must apologize and compensate us for our losses." Ma Wenjue said unfairly, "Zhu Linlin, can't you be a little shameless? It's obvious that your son has no education." He bit his own hand and vented his anger on Tang Tang. "It's his own fault that he fell down. Can you blame him just because his surname is Zhu?" Zhang Xiaoyi had always been on the same side as Zhu Linlin. She said, "Anyway, Linlin's husband and son were injured. An apology and compensation are necessary." Chin Haodong said coldly, "If you just lack money to see a doctor, as a classmate, I can give you some, but if you want my daughter to apologize, it's impossible, because my daughter is not wrong." Wu Wenqing said, "We are all classmates. Today's incident was also an accident. Let's talk about compensation later. Hurry up and send the child to the hospital." Zhu Linlin cried rudely, "No, Chin Haodong hurt my son and husband. He must apologize and compensate us today." At this time, Crawford also got up from the ground, but this time he already knew how powerful Chin Haodong was. He no longer dared to step forward, but stood beside Zhu Linlin and cried, "How dare you hit me? I'm a citizen of M country. I'm going to complain to the embassy. We are first-class citizens in the world. You Huaxia people must pay the price. If you don't want me to complain, give me that green stone." After he said this, more than a dozen classmates in the private room looked at Crawford as if they were looking at an idiot. This black man was really greedy. The King Green Jade was worth more than 100 million yuan. He wanted to take it for himself because of such a small thing, and the responsibility was on his side. Ma Wenjue cried, "Black man, first-class citizen, bullshit. You can complain as you like. Do you think our Huaxia is still the Huaxia of the past? Now Huaxia people are not afraid of your M country. That's right. Do you think we Huaxia people are easy to bully? Get out of here. You are not welcome here." Crawford's words angered the public, and everyone drove him away together. "What are you doing? My husband and my son were injured. If you do this again, I will call the police." Zhu Linlin shouted loudly, but it was obvious that she was not confident. She was completely fierce in appearance but weak in heart. "Call the police as you like. We can testify for Chin Haodong. Your son's injury is his own fault. Big black man's injury is also his own fault. Zhu Linlin, you have become like this after marrying a black man. You should go, too. Our classmates don't welcome you, that's right. Don't say that I'm your classmate in the future. I can't afford to lose that person." Seeing that she had angered the public, Zhu Linlin did not know whether to stay or leave. She was in an awkward dilemma for a while. Of course, she would not choose to call the police, because she also knew that it was useless to call the police, because the responsibility was all on their side. Zhang Xiaohui whispered in her ear, "Lin Lin, take the child to see a doctor first. Leave it to me. When my cousin comes, I will ask him to teach Qin Haodong a good lesson and avenge you." Geng Minghui, the class monitor in their junior high school and the convener of today's party, was the son of Zhang Xiaohui's aunt. Although they were the same age, Geng Minghui was a few months older than her. "Well, I'll go first. I must let the class monitor teach this toy boy a lesson." After saying that, Zhu Linlin glared at Qin Haodong with hatred, and then walked out of the private room with the child and Kafu in her arms. After they left, Ma Wenjue said, "They finally left. I feel uncomfortable looking at them. I really don't understand why a good Huaxia person would find a big black man." Zhang Xiaohui was suddenly unhappy and cried, "What do you mean? Do Huaxia people have to find Huaxia people? Is it rebellious to find a foreigner?" Ma Wenjue said, "When did I say it was rebellious? It's okay to find a foreigner, but you should find a decent one. Look at you two. He found a black man, and you found a short man with a bow leg. Aren't you shaming us Huaxia people?" Being poked at the sore point again, Zhang Xiaohui screamed, "Ma Wenjue, tell me today, who is shaming us Huaxia people?" Just then, two people came in the door. The one in front was wearing a suit and glasses, looking gentle. The one in the back had a crew cut, a big gold chain around his neck as thick as a little finger, and a big bright gold watch on his wrist. He looked like a local tyrant. The man with glasses was the initiator of today's party, Geng Minghui, the class monitor. After entering the door, he said to Zhang Xiaohui, "Xiaohui, we are having a class reunion today. Why are you quarreling again? Cousin, you're here. I've been bullied." Zhang Xiaohui directly pulled Geng Minghui to the corner and kept talking. From time to time, she pointed at Ma Wenjue and Qin Haodong. Although they couldn't hear what she said, everyone could see that she was definitely not saying good things about Qin Haodong. Lin Momo frowned slightly and whispered in Qin Haodong's ear, "Are these two your classmates?" Qin Haodong said, "Yes, the one with glasses is Geng Minghui, the class monitor, and the one with the gold chain is Pang Cheng. His family business is also very big." "What's wrong? Do you know them?" "I saw them at the land bidding just now. Geng Minghui is the secretary of the county magistrate, and Pang Cheng is the representative of the Pong's group I mentioned. They must have come together after the land bidding meeting. It seems that they have a good relationship." Lin Momo said, "It seems that the Pong's group does have a lot of connections in Wufeng County, so I don't think there is much hope of success in this bidding." Qin Haodong said with a smile, "It doesn't matter. You have me. As long as I'm here, it doesn't matter how many connections they have." Chapter 122. Dear students, welcome to attend today's class reunion for my sake. Geng Minghui adjusted his glasses, showed a formal smile, and continued, "I'm really sorry. I'm too busy at work, so I'm a little late. Please forgive me." At this time, Pang Cheng beside him said, "Class monitor Minghui is now on a meteoric rise in his official career. He has become the secretary of Magistrate Zhao not long after he started working. He is the number 2 chief of our Wufeng County. He is definitely an example for our classmates to learn from." Hearing that Geng Minghui had become the secretary of the county magistrate, the students present applauded and many showed envious eyes. In a small place like Wufeng County, it was absolutely glorious to be the secretary of the county magistrate, and he would be respected wherever he went. Only Qin Haodong kept teasing his daughter and didn't even look at Geng Minghui. He didn't even pay attention to the county magistrate Zhao Yang, let alone the county magistrate's secretary. Geng Minghui glanced at Qin Haodong with dissatisfaction in his eyes, but it soon disappeared. He waved his hand to the applauding students and said, "Don't listen to Pang Cheng's nonsense. There are many students who are better than me, but Magistrate Zhao really values me. He is not at ease to leave everything to others." The county just held a land bidding meeting in the afternoon, and then Magistrate Zhao asked me to book a private room in Shirley Xiang to entertain distinguished guests here in the evening, so I came a little late. Gung Minghui said modestly, but the complacency on his face could not be concealed at all. Pang Cheng said with a flattering face, "You are the number 2 chief. It's natural for you to be busy. We are all classmates, no one has any opinion." Gung Minghui obviously enjoyed this flattery very much. He patted Pang Cheng on the shoulder and said, "After graduation, many of you haven't seen each other for 7 or 8 years. Let me introduce you. Now Pang Cheng is a great entrepreneur and the heir of Pang's group. In terms of ability, he is a promising young man. In terms of identity and status, he is definitely the gold medal child of our Wufeng County. Let me tell you that Pang Cheng is the representative of Pang's group at the land bidding meeting held in the county just now. He is a popular competitor in this bidding meeting, representing our Wufeng County to bid for this land with Lin's group." The students in the room applauded at first, and then they realized that the president of Lin's group was sitting next to Qin Haodong. "You flatter me. You flatter me. Businessmen like us still need Chief Number 2's help to make a living." Pang Cheng said proudly, "Our Pang's group is determined to win this land bid. After the bid is successful, we will build the largest entertainment center in Wufeng County and even in Jiangnan City. Cheng, when the time comes, the students can go and play. I, Pang, will be free of charge." After that, he made an expression as if he had just seen Lin Momo. He pretended to be surprised and said, "Oh, isn't this President Lin of Lin's group? I didn't expect to see you here. I'm sorry, I said something wrong just now." Lin Momo just glanced at him coldly and did not speak. A conglomerate of the size of Pang's group could only have some say in a small place like Wufeng County. Looking at the whole Jiangnan province, it could not be compared with Lin's group at all. The difference in industrial scale was hundreds of times. Gung Minghui said, "I just said that many of our classmates are better than me, such as our classmate Qin Haodong, who has become a gigolo to the extreme. Unexpectedly, he has found the president of Lin's group, who is worth tens of billions of yuan. It's really worth learning." After he said this, the room immediately became quiet. Everyone knew that Gung Minghui was targeting Qin Haodong, which should have something to do with Zhang Xiaoyi's complaint just now. Everyone's eyes were focused on Qin Haodong, but Qin Haodong did not care at all. There was still a faint smile on his face. Emperor Greenwood's preferences were completely based on his heart, and it was not the turn of others to criticize him. An ant like Gung Minghui was not in his eyes at all. But Ma Wenjue next to him was unhappy and said, "Gung Minghui, what are you talking about? Who are you calling a gigolo?" Gung Minghui said with a sneer, "Do you still need to say that? Of course, I'm talking about our classmate Qin Haodong. When I was at school, I thought he had the potential to be a gigolo. I didn't expect him to be employed so soon." Pang Cheng had already seen Gung Minghui's intention and said, "Qin Haodong really has the potential to be a gigolo. If the rich woman Lin is tired of you one day, then just come to my entertainment company. I believe that the business will definitely be very good. Both men and women can be attracted to you." Compared with Gung Minghui, this guy's words hurt people's self-esteem more and more. Qin Haodong's face slowly became cold. Ma Wenjue said angrily, "Pang Cheng, Gung Minghui, what the hell are you doing? We're all classmates. How can you talk like that? It's too much." Gung Minghui said with a cold face, "Am I too much or is he too much? Relying on the fact that he has a rich woman to bully the girls in our class." Pang Cheng said, "I really feel ashamed to be classmates with such a person." Gung Minghui pointed to Qin Haodong and cried, "There are all kinds of dishes here today, but there is no dinner. Get out of here." The students in the room were in awe. They didn't expect Gung Minghui to be so cruel. He directly wanted to drive Qin Haodong out, which was equivalent to directly breaking off the relationship between classmates. If Qin Haodong was driven out, he would be even more disgraced. Even if he met his classmates again in the future, he would never be able to raise his head. However, at this time, everyone kept silent. Compared with Qin Haodong, they dared not offend Geng Minghui and Pang Cheng. These two people were rich and powerful. Once they provoked them, they might not be able to survive in Wufeng County in the future. Zhang Xiaohui looked at Qin Haodong with a face full of pride and cried, "Did you hear that? Gigolo, as a man, you don't think about your own efforts, but have the cheek to live off a woman. It's a shame for men." Ma Wenzhuo was about to get angry, but was stopped by Qin Haodong. He looked up at Geng Minghui and the other two and said lightly, "Do you really want to drive me away regardless of the relationship between us? Are you sure you won't regret it?" Geng Minghui sneered and said, "Gigolo, do you still want to scare me at this time? Don't think you're great because you have Lin's group as your backer. This is Wufeng County, my territory. Lin's group can't do anything here. To tell you the truth, Magistrate Zhao has confirmed the result of this afternoon's bidding meeting. That land belongs to my brother Pang Cheng. Lin's group can't even think about it." While he was talking, the cell phone in his pocket suddenly rang. Geng Minghui picked up the phone and glanced at it. His arrogant face immediately showed a trace of flattery. "Hello, Magistrate Zhao, this is Minghui. What can I do for you?" "Oh. You've arrived. Let me go to the hotel gate to meet the distinguished guest." "Don't worry, I'll go right away." After hanging up the phone, he seemed to change his face and immediately became arrogant again. He shouted to Qin Haodong, "Gigolo, did you hear that? Get out of here with your woman. I have important things to do." Qin Haodong sneered and said, "Isn't it just to go out to meet the distinguished guest? You don't have to go. I'm the distinguished guest you have to meet." As soon as the words came out, everyone in the room showed a surprised look. They didn't understand why Qin Haodong said such words. In everyone's eyes, Qin Haodong relied on Lin Momo to make a living. Even Magistrate Zhao of Lin's group didn't like him. How could he become Zhao Yang's distinguished guest? Geng Minghui and the other two people were slightly stunned and then laughed. Zhang Xiaohui said sarcastically, "Qin Haodong, you really know how to put gold on your face. If a gigolo like you can be the distinguished guest of Magistrate Zhao, then I will be the Queen of England." Pang Cheng also laughed and said, "Then I'm the richest man in the world." Qin Haodong really didn't want to pay attention to these idiots. He directly took out his mobile phone from his pocket and dialed Zhao Yang's phone number. "Magistrate Zhao, you've arrived. I'm in the number 1 VIP room of the Fragrance Hotel. Come here." Zhao Yang was afraid that his lateness would make Qin Haodong unhappy, so he came to the Fragrance Hotel early. After receiving his phone call, he said politely, "I'm sorry, Mr. Qin, I'm still late. Please wait a moment, I'll be there right away." Seeing Qin Haodong hang up the phone, Geng Minghui and the others laughed more wildly. Geng Minghui pointed to Qin Haodong's nose and cried, "Gigolo, no wonder you can cheat President Lin. You're really good at pretending. If Magistrate Zhao invites you to dinner, then I'll be the Prime Minister of the country." He was talking unscrupulously and his saliva was flying. Suddenly, the door of the private room was opened, and Zhao Yang appeared at the door with a smile on his face. After seeing Zhao Yang, Geng Minghui was instantly petrified, and the smile on his face immediately became uglier than crying. But until now, he didn't believe that Zhao Yang invited Qin Haodong. He thought it was just a coincidence. He quickly said, "Magistrate Zhao, you're here. I'll go out to meet the distinguished guest now." Zhao Yang looked at him discontentedly and said, "No, the distinguished guest is here. There's no need to pick him up." Then he walked over and shook hands with Qin Haodong enthusiastically. He said apologetically, "I'm sorry, Mr. Qin. I invited you to dinner, but I'm late." At this time, everyone was dumbfounded. Even a fool could see that the distinguished guest Zhao Yang mentioned was Qin Haodong. What the hell was going on? Why was Magistrate Zhao so polite to Qin Haodong? Was it because of Lin's group? No, Zhao Yang didn't talk to Lin Momo after entering the door. Obviously, it had nothing to do with Lin's group. There was only one answer. Qin Haodong's own identity was very special, so Zhao Yang respected him so much. But Qin Haodong was their junior high school classmate, and his family was not rich. What the hell happened? No matter what other people thought, Qin Haodong said lightly, "It's not that Magistrate Zhao is late. I'm early. I have a classmate party here." Zhao Yang said with a smile, "Oh. It turns out that Minghui and Mr. Qin are classmates. I really haven't heard him mention it." Qin Haodong said, "I used to be, but not now. Just now, he and Pang Cheng wanted to drive me away, saying that it was a shame to be classmates with people like me." Geng Minghui had just come to his senses at this time. At this time, his intestines were blue with regret. For Zhang Xiaowei and Zhu Linlin, he had offended a person who even Magistrate Zhao was very respectful to. It was not worth it at all. But who could have thought that Qin Haodong had such a relationship with Magistrate Zhao? Pang Cheng was also dumbfounded. The reason why he went against Qin Haodong was to please Geng Minghui, the secretary of the county magistrate. He didn't expect to offend the county magistrate. It was not worth it. Chapter 123. Of course, Qin Haodong would not let Geng Minghui go like this. He said, "Chief number 2, is this a joke? You just said that Magistrate Zhao has decided to give the land to the Pong's group. Is this also a joke?" Geng Minghui's feet were soft and he almost sat on the ground. His forehead was covered with cold sweat. Although everyone liked to call the county magistrate's secretary number 2 in private, this was limited to private address. No one dared to say so in front of the county magistrate. Moreover, Zhao Yang didn't say that the land would be given to the Pong's group at all. He just had some inclination. As a secretary, it was taboo to leak the county magistrate's decision without authorization. Moreover, it was not Zhao Yang's final decision, but he tampered with it privately. Zhao Yang's face was so gloomy that he looked at Geng Minghui and said sternly, "Did you say that?" I. Zhao Yang couldn't deny it even if he wanted to. He murmured for a long time and didn't say a word. Qin Haodong said, "Magistrate Zhao, it's not only chief number 2 who talked big. Just now the heir of the Pong's group said that if you invited me to dinner, he would be the richest man in the world." Pang Cheng almost cried. He just wanted to humiliate this classmate who had no background and please the county magistrate's secretary. He didn't expect to lift a stone and drop it on his own feet. Finally, he even offended the county magistrate. As a business group, if the county magistrate had a bad impression of him, he would never have a good life in Wufeng County in the future. Seeing that Geng Minghui and Pang Cheng's past had been exposed, Zhang Xiaowei was nervous for a while. Unexpectedly, Qin Haodong stopped here and didn't mention that she was a queen. In fact, she thought too much. As a nameless woman, Zhao Yang didn't know who she was. What was the use of Qin Haodong mentioning it? That was to say, she was not even qualified for Qin Haodong's revenge. Zhao Yang said coldly, "Geng Minghui, as a secretary, you made such a serious mistake. You should report to the personnel office tomorrow and ask them to rearrange a position for you." "Magistrate Zhao, I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Please give me another chance." Geng Minghui was completely dumbfounded. He didn't expect that Zhao Yang would punish him so severely. It was known that it took him a lot of effort to get the position of secretary. Now it was removed in the blink of an eye. Moreover, things weren't that simple. A secretary who was personally dismissed by the county magistrate wouldn't be able to get any good arrangements in the Human Resources Department. Those people who tried their best to please the county magistrate would definitely put him in the cold palace. He might not be able to get out for 3 to 5 years. And the one who brought all of this was Qin Haodong, the classmate he ridiculed for living off a woman. He didn't know that Zhao Yang was scolding him for being brainless at the moment. He didn't know how to make use of such a good relationship with his classmate. Instead, he came to provoke Fu Haiken. Fu Haiken was valued by the mayor and the head of the public security department. He could easily send Fu Haiken to prison. Even he had to serve him carefully. How could he, a small secretary, provoke Fu Haiken? Thinking of this, Zhao Yang turned his head and apologized to Qin Haodong. I'm sorry, Mr. Qin. It's my fault for not being strict enough. It's all right. Qin Haodong took Lin Momo's hand and said, Magistrate Zhao, let me introduce you. This is my girlfriend, Lin Momo, the president of Lin's group. Zhao Yang quickly reached out to Lin Momo and said, Hello, President Lin, we meet again so soon. I didn't expect you to be Mr. Qin's girlfriend. Now I see that you two are really a good match. It's really a golden boy and a jade girl, a match made in heaven. Hello, Magistrate Zhao. Lin Momo blushed slightly and reached out to shake hands with Zhao Yang. President Lin is really young and promising. Your Lin's group is powerful. I've seen the bidding documents just now. Although the results haven't been transmitted, other bidders are not as competitive as you. After all, the strength is there. Basically, that piece of land belongs to your Lin's group. After Zhao Yang finished speaking, Pang Cheng's face suddenly turned pale. In order to bid for this land, their Pang's group paid a great price. He didn't expect that it would be ruined because of a classmate party. If his father, Pang Wenkai, knew the truth of the matter, he would break his legs. Lin Momo was happy. She had no hope for this bidding, but she didn't expect to win it so easily. She said, Thank you very much, Magistrate Zhao. At the same time, she was also secretly surprised. How could Qin Haodong have such a great influence? Just because she was Qin Haodong's girlfriend, Zhao Yang directly made a decision. Not only was she surprised, but everyone in the room was also stunned. Just now, they thought that he was just a gigolo who lived off a woman. They didn't expect that he could directly influence the county magistrate's decision. First, he fired the arrogant Gung Minghui, and now he took away the land bidding of Pang's group. This was a completely amazing reversal, which was really incredible. Next, Gung Minghui and Pang Cheng left with their tails between their legs. Zhang Xiaowei followed closely behind them. Before the reunion even started, 4 people had already left early. The rest of the people naturally felt bored and left one after another. Qin Haodong took Lin Momo and the little fellow to the next private room and had a very happy meal with Zhao Yang. After dinner, Zhao Yang left. Qin Haodong said to Lin Momo, Let's go and see Grandpa and Grandma with me. Lin Momo said, Do you really want to go? Qin Haodong widened his eyes and said, What do you mean by really want to go? Didn't we have a deal? If you don't go back with me to see Grandma, she will force me to go on a blind date tomorrow. And Grandma is waiting for you at home. In order to see her granddaughter-in-law, she specially bought several new clothes in the afternoon. But I'm a little scared. At this time, Lin Momo's aura of a female president had disappeared. She completely looked like a shy little wife. What's there to be afraid of? Ugly daughters-in-law are afraid to see their mother-in-law. You are so beautiful. Grandma will definitely like you when she sees you. That won't do. How about I prepare again and go to your house tomorrow? Looking at Lin Momo's nervous look, Qin Haodong felt funny and said, Well, let's set it tomorrow morning, but don't go back on your word. Otherwise, Grandma will think I'm lying to her and have to take me on a blind date. Okay, tomorrow morning, no regrets. Seeing that she didn't have to go tonight, Lin Momo was relieved and took a long breath. Qin Haodong called home and then said to Lin Momo, It's still early now. How about I take you to see the night view of Wufeng County? Okay. The little fellow and Lin Momo both raised their hands to welcome his proposal. Wufeng County was built around mountains. There were 5 tall mountains around the county. In the middle of the county, there was a small lake called Moon Lake. In recent years, the county's economy had developed rapidly, and the urban construction had also undergone earth-shaking changes. A landscape belt had been built around Moon Lake. At night, many people came here for shopping and entertainment. Qin Haodong came here with Lin Momo and the little fellow. The super good-looking family of 3 attracted countless envious eyes. They enjoyed the scenery around Moon Lake and tasted the local snacks. The atmosphere was happy and warm. Before they knew it, they came to the depths of the scenic area. It was much quieter and less crowded than outside. Not far away, there was a wooden landscape bridge. The little fellow cried, "Papa, let's go to the bridge to play." After that, she held Qin Haodong's hand in one hand and Lin Momo's hand in the other. The 3 of them walked on the wooden bridge together. "The night here is really beautiful." Lin Momo held the railing on the wooden bridge and said while looking at the night view in the distance. Qin Haodong said, "Let's take a picture of our family." Hearing that, Lin Momo's cheeks turned red, but she didn't say anything against it. "Great! Great! Let's take a picture together with Papa and Mama." The little fellow cried happily and then climbed into her father's arms. Seeing that Qin Haodong took out his old dummy mobile phone, Lin Momo opened her bag and took out the latest dummy mobile phone from it. She gave it to him and said, "Use this. The pixel of your mobile phone is too low, and the picture is not good." "You bought it for me?" Qin Haodong asked. "Yes." Lin Momo nodded. "Thank you," Qin Haodong said and suddenly kissed Lin Momo on the cheek. I'm still here." Lin Momo stared at Qin Haodong charmingly, and her cheeks blushed again. Since Qin Haodong came into her life, she had changed more and more recently. Her cold face, which used to be unapproachable, became more and more easy to blush. "Yes, I'm still here. Papa, I want it too." The little fellow cried while holding Qin Haodong's neck. "Okay, Papa, kiss me too." Qin Haodong said and kissed the little fellow on the cheek, which made her giggle. Looking at the laughing father and daughter in front of her, a feeling that she had never felt before rose in Lin Momo's heart. It was the unique warmth of a family, which made her feel very comfortable. Qin Haodong picked up the mobile phone, and the cheeks of the family of 3 were tightly pressed together. Soon, a very warm picture was displayed on the screen of the new mobile phone. After looking at the picture, the little fellow felt that it was not enough. She cried again, one more. "Papa, Mama, kiss me together." According to their daughter's request, Lin Momo and Qin Haodong kissed the little fellow's cheeks from both sides, and then raised the mobile phone and took another picture. At this moment, a cold voice suddenly came from the side, "Your family of 3 is very happy. I believe that you will not be lonely even if you go to hell." Lin Momo was shocked and looked back. She saw 7 or 8 tall black men on both sides of the wooden bridge, led by Zhu Linlin's husband, Kafu. The dark skin of these people blended well with the night, which made their teeth and the steel knives in their hands look particularly dazzling. Qin Haodong frowned and was extremely dissatisfied with the warm atmosphere of the family of 3 being interrupted. He said coldly to Kafu, "Do you know that you are very annoying? Boy, you are about to die, and you still dare to talk to me like this." Kafu waved the steel knife in his hand and cried with a ferocious face, "Your daughter hurt my son, and you hurt me. Hurry up and hand over your stone, or I will send you to see God together." Qin Haodong smiled disdainfully, "No matter what you say, you just like my Ice King green, don't you? Don't talk nonsense. Give me that stone, or I will kill you immediately." Kafu did like the jade in Qin Haodong's hand. His business assets in Huaxia were only more than 10 million yuan, and it had been very bad recently. It had suffered continuous losses and was somewhat insolvent. Because of this, just after leaving the hotel, he had a crooked idea. As long as he grabbed this jade worth more than 100 million yuan, he could live a comfortable life without doing anything. Chapter 124. Get out of here. It's not too late. Qin Haodong did not panic as Crawford had expected. On the contrary, he looked extremely calm. "I tell you, this is Huaxia. It's not your turn to be arrogant. Huaxia pig, you think you're great just because you know some martial arts? No matter how good you are at fighting, you can't beat so many of us. Crawford waved his hand and said, brothers, kill him and get that jade. We'll be rich in the future. Hearing his shout, the eyes of those black men flashed with a crazy look. Two of them looked at Lin Momo's beautiful body and even showed a beast-like light. They all had strong bodies and did not put this thin Huaxia person in their eyes at all. Qin Haodong glanced at these people and said proudly, you really don't know how to live. I told you, this is Huaxia. It's not your turn to behave atrociously. He clapped his hands and shouted, let's get rid of these black men. Hearing Qin Haodong's words, those black men who were about to rush up immediately stopped and looked back. They didn't know when, but 6 black shadows appeared silently behind them. Saber looked at Crawford and smiled. You guys have no brains. How dare you think about the boss? You must die today. Crawford was also shocked by the sudden appearance of 6 people, but he did not care too much. After all, they still had more people on their side, and they had weapons in their hands. He shouted again, brothers, let's get rid of these Huaxia pigs together. Hearing his order, these black men immediately started. A black man nearly 2 meters tall raised his dagger with a cold light in his hand and stabbed it fiercely toward Saber's chest. Saber slightly sidestepped the dagger, and then suddenly punched out, hitting the black man's chest with a bang. Crack! With a harsh bone-cracking sound, the black man, who weighed more than 100 kilograms, was punched and flew, slamming into the wooden bridge railing behind him. At the same time, several other people of the divine mercenaries also started to fight. They were all experienced masters, and these black men were just strong. How could they be their opponents? There was no room for resistance at all. In the blink of an eye, everyone was knocked down to the ground, leaving only Crawford standing next to him. Crawford was shocked. He didn't expect Qin Haodong and his men to be so powerful. His men were all easily knocked down to the ground. Don't move, or I'll shoot him dead. This guy took out a black pistol and pointed it at Qin Haodong. In his opinion, Qin Haodong was the leader of these people. As long as he took Qin Haodong hostage, Saber and the others could do nothing to him. Unexpectedly, as soon as he finished speaking, a black shadow in the night coiled towards his right hand like a snake, and with a smack, the pistol fell to the ground. Black Devil, my boss said that this is not a place for you to behave atrociously. It was whip. After knocking off the pistol in Crawford's hand, he lifted his foot and kicked Crawford's lower abdomen, directly kicking Crawford to the ground. Masters were masters. Ordinary people like Crawford, even if they had guns in their hands, could not pose a threat to them. Saber said, Boss, what about these people? Why don't we just kill him and be done with it? These reckless black devils dared to come to Huaxia to threaten his boss, which made Saber inadvertently show his murderous intent. Saber had been in the mercenary world for years, and it could be said that he had killed countless people. The murderous intent on his body was condensed. Crawford was so scared that he almost peed his pants. He quickly cried, No, please don't. Please let me go. I don't want that jade. At this time, he was already regretful. This young man was so cruel, but he still wanted to rob him. Wasn't he looking for death? Lin Momo nervously grabbed Qin Haodong's arm and said, Haodong, don't kill people. After all, this is Huaxia. Killing people will be very troublesome. Although this place was relatively remote, the commotion here had already attracted the attention of other tourists. Some bold ones even slowly approached here, wanting to see what was going on. In this case, if all these black ghosts were killed, it would indeed be a little troublesome. Qin Haodong said to Saber, tie them up and let the police deal with them. Then he dialed Shi Kuaihai's phone and briefly told him what had happened. Shi Kuaihai said, Don't worry, I'll send someone to deal with it right away. These black people are lawless in our Huaxia, and we will certainly not let them off. The police were very efficient because the head of the Public Security Bureau personally supervised the matter. In less than 10 minutes, 4 or 5 police cars drove to Chin Haodong's place, and Crawford and others were directly taken to the police cars. These people robbed with knives and deliberately hurt people. Crawford also had a gun in his hand, which was a felony in Huaxia. Even if he didn't die, he would spend the rest of his life in prison. It was very late after the matter was dealt with. Chin Haodong directly sent Lin Momo and the little fellow back to the hotel, and then returned to the traditional Chinese medicine clinic. The next morning, Zuolongji woke Chin Haodong up early, and the whole family was happily waiting to welcome the new granddaughter-in-law. Dong, why hasn't she come yet? Zuolongji kept looking out of the window. Grandma, it's too early. How can she get up as early as us? Chin Haodong said helplessly. This old lady woke him up at dawn. Dong, are you lying to Grandma? Zuolongji stared at Chin Haodong and asked. No, no. How can I lie to Grandma about such a big thing? Chin Haodong hurriedly explained, for fear that the old lady would take him on a blind date again. Li Shulan said, Dong, do you have a photo of the girl? Let us see it first, so that we can be mentally prepared. Yes, I just took it yesterday. Chin Haodong said as he took out his mobile phone and showed the photo taken last night to his family. The old lady took the mobile phone in her hand first. When she saw the beautiful Lin Momo, she was surprised at first, and then asked doubtfully, Dong, are you sure you didn't get a photo of a star to deceive Grandma? Chin Haodong said with a smile, Grandma, why don't you always believe me? This is not a star. How can a star be as beautiful as your granddaughter-in-law? Zuolongji laughed happily again, and the wrinkles on her face were revealed. Great, this girl is so beautiful. Look at this big butt, she will definitely give birth to a boy in the future. Chin Haodong was speechless. First of all, the old lady's aesthetic was different from that of others. Others looked at the face, but she looked at the butt first. Suddenly, the old lady turned another page and saw the photo of Chin Haodong's family of 3. She said happily, oh, this little girl is so beautiful. Whose child is so cute? The old lady came to her senses after saying that. The smile on her face disappeared. She looked at Chin Haodong and said, Dong, whose child is this? You didn't find a second marriage, did you? For the existence of the little fellow, Chin Haodong had already thought of an excuse. He said, Grandma, this is my daughter, your great-granddaughter. Wait. Wait. Zuolongji touched her forehead and said, Don't try to fool me just because I'm old. This child is 3 or 4 years old. How could she be your daughter? It's like this, Grandma. Chin Haodong told the story of his encounter with Lin Momo in his previous life from beginning to end, but he moved the time to the time when he just went to college, and the characters changed from his previous life to this life. Zuolongji and Li Shulan were stunned. Wang Rubing said, Little brother, what you said is true. Why didn't you say it before? I didn't know before. I thought we would never see each other again after that night. I didn't expect to meet suddenly a few days ago, and then I knew I had such a big daughter. Chin Haodong said, Grandma, Aunt, it's enough that you know what's going on. Don't mention it when Momo comes. She's shy, so she'll be embarrassed. Don't mention it. It's great. Not only do I have a granddaughter-in-law, but I also have a great-granddaughter. The old lady laughed happily again, but then she said to Chin Haodong, Dongzi, it's good to have a daughter, but you have to have a son. I know, Grandma. Chin Haodong promised casually. At this time, there was a sound of motor at the door, and 3 luxury cars stopped in front of the clinic. Grandma, your granddaughter-in-law is here. Chin Haodong shouted. Although Li Shulan didn't know about cars, she knew that the extended Rolls-Royce in front of her was absolutely expensive. She said to Chin Haodong in surprise, Dong, what does your daughter-in-law do? At this time, everyone realized that they hadn't asked about Chin Haodong's girlfriend's occupation. Zuolongji then asked, Yes, Dong, you haven't told us her name yet. Chin Haodong said, She is the president of Lin's group. Her name is Lin Momo. They walked out while talking. At this time, the door of the Rolls-Royce opened, and a smooth long leg came out of the car first, in sharp contrast with the black door of the Rolls-Royce. Then a curvy figure and a perfect face gradually appeared in front of everyone. It had to be said that Lin Momo, who was carefully dressed, played her beauty to the extreme. The perfect combination of sexiness, coldness and beauty was simply a masterpiece of God. She was a domineering female president in the company, and an unapproachable ice beauty in front of outsiders. Over the years, she had experienced all kinds of storms and different big scenes. But today, for the first time, she stepped into Qin Haodong's house as his girlfriend, and she felt unprecedentedly nervous. "Mommy, wait for me." At this time, the little fellow jumped out of the car. When she saw Qin Haodong, she immediately rushed over and said, "Papa, hug." Qin Haodong held the little fellow in his arms, and then went up to take her hand and introduced her to his family one by one. "This child is so good. So beautiful." Zuolangji took Lin Momo's hand and kept praising her. Grandpa Li Chongqing also kept nodding. It could be seen that they were extremely satisfied with their granddaughter-in-law. Li Shulan took the little fellow from Qin Haodong's arms and said, "Tang Tang is really beautiful, so cute." "Hello, Auntie," the little fellow said in a childish voice. "Tang Tang, you can't call her Auntie, you should call her Grandma." Qin Haodong quickly corrected the little fellow's mistake. "Why? It's obviously Auntie. The teacher said that Auntie is younger than Grandma," Tang Tang said with a serious face. After the little fellow's words, everyone burst into laughter. Although Zuolangji was nearly 50 years old, she maintained herself very well. She looked like a young woman in her 30s. No wonder the little fellow couldn't tell. "Don't talk here. Come and sit in the room." Zuolangji held Lin Momo's hand, and Li Shulan held the little fellow. The family walked to the room happily. Just then, someone suddenly called at the door of the courtyard, "Qin Haodong, can you come out for a moment?" Chapter 125. Now Zhu Linlin was extremely haggard. Her hair was messy, and there was a pair of big dark circles under her eyes. Her expression was miserable and desperate. She was no longer as arrogant and domineering as she was when they first met yesterday. Qin Haodong frowned. It was the first time for Zhu Linlin to visit, and the whole family was happy. Naturally, they didn't want to see the disappointing Zhu Linlin at this time. However, since she was already here, the matter had to be solved eventually. He could only let Lin Momo go to the house with Zuolangji and others to rest first. He turned around and came to the gate of the courtyard. He pulled Zhu Linlin to the corner and asked, "What can I do for you?" "Haodong, I beg you to let Cafu go," Zhu Linlin said as she knelt on the ground and burst into tears. "Qin Haodong, I know I was wrong, but I beg you to spare Cafu." Although she looked pitiful, Qin Haodong was not moved. He said in a cold voice, "I don't have time to waste with you. I can only give you 5 minutes, no more than 1 minute. So I advise you to stand up and talk." Zhu Linlin originally wanted to be pitiful. Seeing that Qin Haodong didn't buy it, she quickly got up from the ground, wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes and said, "Qin Haodong, for the sake of many years of classmate, please help me this time. Just this time, let Cafu go. Do you think I run the Public Security Bureau? Do you think I can let him go just because I want to?" Zhu Linlin said, "I know you are powerful, and even the county magistrate is your friend. As long as you help, you will definitely let Cafu go." Qin Haodong smiled coldly and said, "Let's not talk about whether I have the ability or not. Even if I did, I wouldn't do it. Don't you know how that black guy got in? He wanted to rob my jade and kill my family. I was kind enough not to kill him on the spot. You want me to save him? Is there something wrong with your head?" "Haodong, I know he was wrong this time, but he was also confused. Please let him go this time." Zhu Linlin begged again. Confused? That's ridiculous. You can rob other people's things in a moment of confusion. You can kill people with a gun in a moment of confusion. This is Huaxia. No matter if he is black or white, no matter if he is from M country or Neon, if he commits a crime here, he will have to pay the price. No one is an exception. I know all of this, but I really can't hold on any longer. Zhu Linlin cried again and said while crying, yesterday, I took Kano to the hospital to treat his wound. I thought it was just a small wound that could be cured easily. I didn't expect the doctor to tell me that Kano had HIV in his body when I tested his blood. Now that Kano has been hospitalized, the family depends on me alone. If I don't release Kafu, I really can't hold on. Qin Haodong was stunned at first. This result was indeed somewhat unexpected. Then he sneered and said, so what if I let him out? Don't tell me you still don't understand how the child got AIDS. If he comes out, he will only harm more Chinese people, so I advise you to hurry up and get yourself a blood test. What? Are you saying that I might have this disease too? Zhu Linlin said with her eyes wide open. Qin Haodong sighed. Zhu Linlin really didn't have any medical knowledge. He said, it's not that you might have it, but you definitely have it. Impossible. It's impossible. Zhu Linlin said with a look of horror, although I usually dress up well, I have never messed around with a man like Kafu. How could I get this disease? What about your son? Did your son get this disease randomly? Qin Haodong said, let me tell you about AIDS. Although this virus is powerful, there are only 3 ways of transmission. Sex, mother and child, and blood. In our country, the possibility of getting AIDS through blood transfusion is almost 0. Your son got this disease at such a young age. Basically, you transmitted it to him. And where did your AIDS virus come from? I don't need to tell you, do I? Hearing Qin Haodong's words, Zhu Linlin's face turned pale. She felt dizzy. She held the wall next to her and barely stabilized her body. She asked in a trembling voice, you mean, my AIDS was transmitted to me by Kafu? Do you still need to ask? Black people are originally the group with the highest proportion of HIV carriers. In Africa, the country with the highest HIV infection rate can reach 40%. Although your Kafu is from M country, who knows how his virus came from? God, why did you do this? Why did you do this to me? Zhu Linlin completely collapsed. Her whole body was limp on the ground. Qin Haodong didn't have much sympathy for the woman in front of him. He said, you made your own choice. You can't blame God. Now go to the hospital to have a checkup, and then take the time to treat it. The onset of AIDS is also very long, more than 10 years. This is why you didn't have symptoms before. If you keep it well, you can live for a while. After that, he turned and went back to the yard. Zhu Linlin had asked for it. If she didn't despise the poor and love the rich, if she didn't worship foreign things, she wouldn't have today's bitter result. When he returned home, the little fellow had become the core of everyone, making his grandparents very happy. Lin Momo became a supporting role, chatting with Wang Rubing. Seeing Qin Haodong come back, Lin Momo asked, what's wrong, Haodong? Why did that woman want to see you? Qin Haodong told Lin Momo what had happened to Zhu Linlin, and then said, a pitiful person must be hateful. She asked for it. She can't blame others. Wang Rubing said, yes, a good Huaxia woman had to find a black man for a little bit of money. Now, she has lost the rest of her life. Lin Momo said, in the eyes of many Huaxia people, everything is good abroad. The moon in foreign countries is rounder than in Huaxia, and foreign men are better than Huaxia men. It's so ignorant, Wang Rubing said with a smile, she's too ignorant. Those foreign guys are not as good as my brother. Lin Momo's cheeks turned red. Then the phone in her bag rang. She took out the phone and answered the call. As time went by, the smile on her face slowly disappeared, and finally it was covered with frost. Qin Haodong immediately realized that something had happened. He asked, "What's wrong, Momo?" Lin Momo said, "Mizan just called me and said that the group will hold a board meeting at 11:00 in the morning. I heard that someone is going to initiate a vote for the replacement of the CEO." Someone had mentioned the vote for the replacement of the CEO, which was obviously against Lin Momo. It seemed that the internal affairs of Lin's group were not peaceful. Qin Haodong took out the phone and checked the time. It was almost 10:00 in the morning. It was obvious that someone had planned to attack Lin Momo and make her late. Lin Momo said anxiously, "Haodong, I have to go back now." "I'll go with you." Qin Haodong said to Wang Rubing, "You explain to your grandparents and aunt later. We'll take the little fellow back." After that, he said goodbye to Li Qingshan, his wife and Li Shulan. Then he picked up the little fellow and left the clinic with Lin Momo in a hurry. After getting in the car, they hurried back to Jiangnan City. After getting in the car, Qin Haodong asked, "Do you know who is against you?" Lin Momo said, "Who else could it be except my good uncle?" After that, she briefly introduced the main situation of Lin's group to Qin Haodong. As the controller of Lin's group, the Lin family held 50% of the group's shares. Lin Xiaotian, the head of the Lin family, held 30%, Lin Ziyuan held 10%, and the remaining 10% was in the hands of Lin Ziyuan's younger brother, Lin Zhigao. Lin Zhigao had a son named Lin Pingchao, who was only 1 year younger than Lin Momo. Lin Zhigao had been very dissatisfied with the old man's decision to give the position of CEO to Lin Ziyuan. A few years ago, when Lin Ziyuan retired from the position of CEO, the old man chose Lin Momo to be the successor instead of Lin Pingchao, which made Lin Zhigao more and more dissatisfied. However, he couldn't change the old man's decision. He could only make irresponsible remarks on the board of directors and make some unnecessary trouble for Lin Momo. Needless to say, the vote for the replacement of the CEO was also his doing. Qin Haodong said, "Your grandfather is really an interesting person. Why does he favor your family so much?" Lin Momo said, "Grandpa doesn't favor us. He just does things fairly. My uncle is ambitious but not talented. He doesn't know how to run the company except for eating, drinking, and playing. So it's natural for my father to be the CEO." What about Lin Pingchao? Don't all old people love their grandchildren? Generally, they regard their granddaughters as outsiders. Why did your grandfather pass it to you? Lin Momo said, "Grandpa also told me that although Lin Pingchao is talented, he is too scheming. In the short term, he seems to be clever, but in the long term, he is absolutely not suitable for the development of Lin's group. So he passed the position of CEO to me." Qin Haodong said with a smile, "Your old man is good. He has the same vision as me. You are still in the mood to joke at this time." Lin Momo's delicate face showed a worried look. She said, "Although my uncle used to make trouble for me, it was just a small matter. This is the first time that he directly proposed the vote for the replacement of the CEO. I guess he must have something that can threaten my position." Qin Haodong took her hand and said, "Don't worry. It is said that a successful woman has a man behind her. As long as I am behind you, no one can make trouble for you." Nonsense. People are saying that behind every successful man, there is a woman. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who is in the front and who is in the back. Qin Haodong whispered in her ear, "Don't mention who is in the front and who is in the back. I don't care. You. I am so annoyed. Don't talk nonsense." Lin Momo said and rolled her eyes at Qin Haodong, but her expression was relaxed. "What's there to be annoyed about? I will help you with this. I will go with you to the meeting later. Whoever dares to make trouble for you, I will kick his ass directly." Although Qin Haodong was smiling and not serious at all, Lin Momo suddenly felt more at ease with him around. It seemed that as long as Qin Haodong was there, nothing would be a problem. Driven by the divine mercenaries, Lin Momo's motorcade was very fast. At 1 p.m., they arrived at the building of the group on time. After getting out of the car, she and Qin Haodong rushed into the special elevator and went directly to the special meeting room of the board of directors. Before they entered the door, they heard someone shouting in the meeting room, "Today, Lin's group is in a life and death situation under the leadership of Lin Momo. If we don't hurry to change the board of directors, Lin's group will really be finished." Chapter 126. The speaker was an old man in his 60s sitting in the front row. He was Zhao Zhongchen, a director of the board of directors of Lin's group. His son was Zhao Hongmao, the vice president who had been dealt with by Lin Momo some time ago. Zhao Hongmao and his son held 10% of the shares of Lin's group. They were one of the important members of the board of directors and had a considerable say. Zhao Zhongchen was speaking passionately and spittle was flying. Suddenly, the door of the conference room was opened from the outside. Lin Momo walked into the conference room with a cold face. Seeing the arrival of the president, the conference room immediately quieted down, including Zhao Zhongchen. Lin Momo didn't speak. She glanced around indifferently and then went straight to the main seat of the conference room and sat down in her exclusive chair. Qin Haodong followed her with a smile and pulled a chair to sit beside Lin Momo. Lin Momo's expression was cold, and the majesty of a domineering female president was vividly displayed. She glanced around sharply and finally fixed her eyes on Zhao Zhongchen, who was still standing there. She asked in a cold voice, "Director Zhao, I seem to have heard what you said just now, but I didn't hear it very clearly. Can you repeat it?" Zhao Zhongchen held the gold-rimmed glasses on the bridge of his nose, and his momentum was obviously weakened. Although he owned 10% of the shares and had a high status in the group, he was still not confident when facing Lin Momo. He was just inciting other directors to oppose Lin Momo when they voted. But when Lin Momo really came, he didn't have the courage to say it directly. However, Zhao Zhongchen was also experienced. He didn't directly answer Lin Momo's question. Instead, he pointed to Qin Haodong next to him and said, "President Lin, who is this man? Although I'm old and dim-sighted, if I remember correctly, he may not be a director of our Lin's group. Is he not qualified to attend the board meeting?" Lin Momo said, "His name is Qin Haodong. He is the healthcare doctor of our group. I brought him to attend the board meeting." "What? He is Qin Haodong?" Zhao Zhongchen immediately widened his eyes and his face was full of anger. Qin Haodong taught Zhao Hongmao a lesson that day and made his daughter-in-law, Xiao Lily, squint her mouth and eyes, extremely ugly. Later, Zhao Hongmao took his daughter to do a paternity test and found that she was not his child. He immediately divorced Xiao Lily. Originally, Qin Haodong had helped Zhao Hongmao take off his green hat, so the father and son of the Zhao family should thank him. But on the contrary, the two of them blamed all this on Qin Haodong and hated him very much. A few days ago, Zhao Zhongchen accidentally heard that Qin Haodong had entered Lin's group as a healthcare doctor. He didn't dare to argue with Lin Momo and wanted to find trouble with Qin Haodong directly. However, Qin Haodong had been too busy recently and hadn't come to work. Zhao Zhongchen went there several times but couldn't find him. He didn't expect to meet him here today. Qin Haodong looked at Zhao Zhongchen's fierce eyes and felt depressed. He thought to himself, "Old man, I didn't make your son a cuckold. Why are you looking at me so fiercely?" Zhao Zhongchen stared at Qin Haodong and said, "President Lin, when can a healthcare doctor be qualified to attend the board meeting? This is completely against the rules of the group. You want to talk to me about the rules of the group? Then let's have a good talk today." Lin Momo looked at Zhao Zhongchen coldly and said, "According to the rules of the group, the replacement vote of the executive president must be carried out with the presence of all shareholders. I want to ask Director Zhao, I am not present, my father and my grandfather are not present. Why do you propose to carry out the replacement vote of the president? If everything is carried out according to the rules, then I will let Qin Haodong go now, but there is no need to continue today's meeting." Zhao Zhongchen didn't expect Lin Momo's words to be so sharp. He was speechless for a while. He wanted to drive Qin Haodong away, but he didn't want today's meeting to end here. At this time, another middle-aged man sitting in the front row said, "Well, Director Zhao, it's just one more person to attend the meeting. There is no need to be so serious." The man who spoke was Lin Momo's second uncle, Lin Zhigao. Next to him was a young man with a feminine look. It was his son, Lin Pingchao. Zhao Zhongchen said, "Well, since Director Lin said, it doesn't matter if one more person attends the meeting. But as a director of the group, I have the right to put forward the agenda of the meeting. Let's discuss whether Qin Haodong is qualified to enter our Lin's group." Lin Momo said, "Qin Haodong entered the group to be a healthcare doctor. I personally recruited him. You don't have to question his qualification." Zhao Zhongchen said, "As far as I know, Qin Haodong hasn't graduated from the medical college. He doesn't even have a medical qualification certificate. How can he enter Lin's group to be a healthcare doctor? When did the threshold of our Lins become so low that any cat or dog can enter?" After he finished, several directors next to him nodded again and again. As a large group, whether these people had opinions about Lin Momo or not, the principle of employment still had to be adhered to. If Qin Haodong didn't have a medical qualification certificate as Zhao Zhongchen said, then he would never be allowed to enter the group to be a healthcare doctor. However, Lin Momo had been in charge of the group for so many years. She was not a young girl who had just come out. Although she was hit by Zhao Zhongchen, she still looked calm. After many directors finished whispering, she said, "Director Zhao, according to the management system of our group, the employee files of the personnel department are trade secrets. Except for the management of the human resources department, only the executive president of the whole company can access them. I want to ask, how do you know that Qin Haodong hasn't graduated from college, and how do you know that he doesn't have a medical qualification certificate?" This. Zhao Zhongchen was obviously not Lin Momo's opponent. Once again, he was speechless. Everyone knew that Zhao Zhongchen had his own cronies in the human resources department, but this kind of thing could not be put on the table at all. If he said that person, Lin Momo would fire him in the name of leaking company secrets. Finally, Zhao Zhongchen waved his hand and said, "I guessed it. You see, he is so young. He doesn't look like he has a medical qualification certificate." Lin Momo smiled coldly and said, "If Director Zhao guessed so well, then you can directly guess the recruitment of our group in the future. The Human Resources Department can be directly dissolved." Zhao Zhongchen was angry. "President Lin, you don't have to play dumb here. Letting Qin Haodong enter the group to be a healthcare doctor is your abuse of power for personal gain. Everyone in the group knows that he is a gigolo and has no qualification to be a healthcare doctor." Qin Haodong was not happy. He looked at Zhao Zhongchen and said, "Old man Zhao, a gigolo and a gigolo are two completely different concepts. You can't talk nonsense. Boy, can you talk? Who are you calling old man?" Zhao Zhongchen said with his eyes wide open. "Why, am I wrong? Well, I'll call you little Zhao in the future." Qin Haodong said to Zhao Zhongchen with a smile, "Little Zhao, medical skills have nothing to do with age. Haven't you heard that my medical skills are very good? Although I haven't been in the group for a long time, I have cured many people's diseases." Zhao Zhongchen was the person with the most shares in Lin's group besides the Lin family. He was in a high position. He did not expect to be so despised by Qin Haodong. He was so angry that his lungs almost burst. He said angrily, "Boy, don't talk nonsense. You are not qualified to be the healthcare doctor of Lin's group." Then he shouted to Lin Momo, "President Lin, I don't think such a person is suitable to be a healthcare doctor in the group at all. He should be fired immediately." Lin Momo naturally disagreed. She said, "That's impossible. Qin Haodong is the best healthcare doctor in the history of Lin's group. His medical skills are much higher than others, so there is no reason to fire him." "Ha ha ha ha, the best healthcare doctor? His medical skills are very high. My good cousin, I heard that you're dating this guy with the surname Qin. Have you been blinded by love? Lin Pingqiao, who had been silent for a long time, spoke. He was the chief planner of today's executive president replacement vote. Zhao Zhongchen was just pulled by him to be a forerunner. Although Qin Haodong was not in the plan before, he was very happy to see that Lin Momo's prestige would be damaged through this matter in advance. Lin Momo frowned. She naturally knew that Lin Pingqiao had been coveting her position as president. She said, "What do you mean? Do you think I'm lying?" Lin Pingqiao said, "Cousin, I didn't say you were lying. But people say that women in love will lower their IQ. I think this sentence is right. Qin Haodong is just in his early 20s. He can't have good medical skills in Chinese medicine or Western medicine." Zhao Zhongchen followed and said, "That's right. How can such a person have superb medical skills? I think the president can't distinguish between public and private affairs. If so, you are really not suitable to sit in this position." Qin Haodong stopped Lin Momo, who was about to explode. He looked at Lin Pingqiao first, and then looked at Zhao Zhongchen. He said, "In order to prove that the president's vision is right, it seems that I have to prove myself." Zhao Zhongchen sneered and said, "If you can come up with medical skills that make everyone sensible and convinced, then I will recognize your identity as a healthcare doctor. You also have to apologize to the president for what you said just now in front of the directors." "No problem. If you can't prove it, get out of Lin's group immediately." Zhao Zhongchen was full of confidence. He felt that even if his medical skills were excellent, he could not prove himself on the spot in such a place. "Well, it's a deal." Qin Haodong said to him, "You spent the night with your lover, didn't you?" Zhao Zhongchen was not prepared for this question at all. His heart suddenly jumped and he asked reflexively, "Boy, did you follow me?" A billionaire like him usually kept several lovers outside, but he was afraid that his wife would know, so he was very sensitive to Qin Haodong's question. "I don't have such a special hobby." Qin Haodong said with a smile, "You are out of breath. Your face is pale, your eyes are blue, and you are weak. It seems that you took at least 2 small blue pills last night. What do you think? Am I right?" Zhao Zhongchen was secretly surprised. He didn't know why Qin Haodong knew so clearly. He cried, "Boy, why do you say this? Now I want you to prove your medical skills, not let you talk nonsense." "I'm trying to prove my medical skills. Am I wrong?" "No, it's not right at all. I stayed at home last night." Zhao Zhongchen denied it. Of course, he would not admit that Qin Haodong had poked his privacy. "Since you are lying with your eyes wide open, I will take out something that everyone can see." Qin Haodong's eyes suddenly became cold. He stepped in front of Zhao Zhongchen. Before Zhao Zhongchen could react, Qin Haodong kicked him in the calf. Chapter 127. Everyone in the meeting room was dumbfounded, including Lin Momo. No one expected that Qin Haodong would break Zhao Zhongchen's right leg at this time. Wasn't this way of verification too unique? All the directors present were businessmen. It was fine for them to play some business tricks and scheme, but they had never seen such a method of dealing with things without saying a word. Lin Pingqiao was slightly stunned, and then a glimmer of joy flashed in his eyes. He shouted, "Security, security, get this murderer out, no, send him to the police station." Hearing the shout, 4 security guards ran in the door, and the leader asked, "President, what's the matter?" Lin Momo waved her hand and said, "Nothing, you go out first." The current security captain was Saber, and these people were trained by her. Naturally, they would obey Lin Momo's orders 100%. After hearing her words, they went out directly and closed the door of the meeting room. Lin Pingqiao's face darkened, and he asked in a cold voice, "Lin Momo, what do you mean?" "Qin Haodong broke the director's leg, didn't you see?" Qin Haodong smiled and said, "Don't worry. You want me to prove my medical skills. Now I will prove it to you." After that, He grabbed Zhao Zhongchen's right leg in front of his terrified eyes, and pushed it with a little force with both hands. With a click, Zhao Zhongchen's broken calf was reconnected, and Zhao Zhongchen's miserable howl stopped abruptly. After doing all this, he patted Zhao Zhongchen on the shoulder and said, "Little Zhao, your leg has returned to normal now. As long as you don't carry cement and sand for a week, there will be no problem." He did this to prove his medical skills, and also to punish the old thing a little. He would not be polite to those who dared to trouble his woman. Zhao Zhongchen felt it, and his right leg, which was so painful just now, did not feel any pain at this time, which surprised him. "How about it? Can you prove my medical skills now?" Qin Haodong said to Zhao Zhongchen with a smile. Zhao Zhongchen cried, "Boy, you have committed a crime. I have to send you to the police station." Qin Haodong smiled and said, "With my medical skills, your leg has completely recovered. Even if you go to the hospital to take an X-ray, you won't be able to find that it was broken. How can you sue me? That's impossible. My leg is still hurting so badly that I can't walk at all. This doesn't prove your medical skills at all." Zhao Zhongchen was now determined to drive Qin Haodong away. In his opinion, as long as he did not admit it, it was useless for Qin Haodong to say anything. Qin Haodong sneered, grabbed the fruit knife on the plate, and said with a murderous look, "Since this can't prove it, then try my suture skills." With that, he walked towards Zhao Zhongchen with the knife in his hand. Feeling the monstrous killing intent, Zhao Zhongchen was so scared that his fart turned cold. He quickly got up and ran to the door. "Somebody, help, I'm going to kill someone." But when he stumbled to the door, there was no movement behind him. He looked back and saw Qin Haodong standing there with a smile on his face. "Everyone, you have seen my medical skills. After the broken leg was connected, I can walk as before. Can it prove my medical skills?" After Qin Haodong said that, the directors present recovered from the shock. They couldn't help but admire him. They had never seen such magical medical skills. They saw Zhao Zhongchen's leg just now. It had become a V shape. They didn't expect that the young man in front of them could connect it easily, and he just ran as fast as a rabbit. Magic doctor. What a magic doctor. I have lived for so many years, but I have never seen such magical medical skills. It's amazing. It's a waste of talent for such superb medical skills to be a healthcare doctor in our group. Magic doctor, my arm was injured a few years ago. I don't dare to use it now. Can you help me?" A middle-aged director wearing glasses came to Qin Haodong and said. "That's easy. It's a matter of minutes." Qin Haodong said as he pulled the sensible injured arm and gently massaged it a few times. Then he said, "Well, your arm has healed." "Really?" The director still couldn't believe it. He waved his arm a few times and it was so vigorous that he immediately shouted, "It's really cured. My arm doesn't hurt at all and it's full of strength. Dr. Qin is really a miraculous doctor. Magic doctor, please help me. My stomach is a little uncomfortable. Magic doctor, my kidney is a little weak. Can you help me take care of it? Can you guarantee that I can do it 3 times a night? Magic doctor, my hair is going to fall out. Can you let me grow it back?" All the directors present were rich, but it was hard to find a good doctor. Now after seeing Qin Haodong's magical medical skills, they immediately surrounded him in the middle and went forward to ask for medical treatment. Zhao Zhongchen got up from the ground and looked embarrassed. Now without him saying anything, everyone had completely believed in Qin Haodong's medical skills. Lin Pingchao's face was gloomy. He originally wanted to reduce Lin Momo's prestige in the board of directors by driving Qin Haodong away. Now it not only failed, but also had the opposite effect. He looked at Lin Zhigao next to him. Lin Zhigao understood and shouted to the noisy directors, "Directors, we are holding a board meeting. Please go back to your seats." Hearing the shout, the directors reluctantly returned to their seats, but they all left Qin Haodong's contact information and said that they would find him for treatment after the meeting. At this time, Zhao Zhongchen also returned to his seat, but he was much more embarrassed than he had been just now. Lin Pingqiao looked at him and said, "Director Zhao, have you forgotten what today's topic is?" Zhao Zhongchen remembered that the main purpose of today was not Qin Haodong, but to initiate a vote to change the president. He tidied up his messy clothes, cleared his throat and said, "As a director of the group, I think what the current president Lin Momo has done is not in line with the interests of everyone, and has brought great losses to Lin's group. So I suggest that you initiate a vote to change the president." As soon as his voice fell, a director immediately retorted, "Director Zhao, I don't understand what you mean. Since the president took charge of Lin's group, the profits of the group have doubled in the past 3 years. How can it not be in line with the interests of everyone, and how can it bring losses to Lin's group?" Lin Momo had been in charge of Lin's group for so many years, naturally she had her loyal supporters, and this director was one of them. "Director Zhao, since I have been the president of Lin's group, I dare not say that I have made great contributions, but I have definitely helped the directors here to make a lot of money. I don't know what you mean by this. Is it not in line with the interests of the group just because I removed your son from the position of vice president?" After Lin Momo and the director finished talking, the others present nodded. They were all businessmen, and the most important thing was interests. Lin Momo did help them make a lot of money over the years, which was very recognized by everyone. At the same time, they also knew that Lin Momo removed Zhao Hongmao from the position of vice president, so in their view, Zhao Zhongchen was taking revenge in public. At this time, Zhao Zhongchen had calmed down from the panic just now. He sneered and said, "I'm an old man who can't distinguish between public and private affairs. I have my reasons for saying so today." Lin Momo had a bad feeling, but she still said, "Then I don't understand. Let's talk about my recent performance. The raw gemstone exhibition that our Lin's group is holding has achieved unprecedented good results, and the sales have refreshed the performance record since the establishment of Lin's group. Yesterday, I went to Wufeng County and finalized a piece of land that our Lin's group likes, and immediately built the group's jade industrial base. I think this is all my performance. If someone else was the president, it would be impossible to do so perfectly." After she finished speaking, many of the directors present began to applaud. Obviously, they very much agreed with Lin Momo's achievements. In particular, the ongoing raw gemstone exhibition completely defeated the old rival Feng's group, which made the directors also feel proud. Zhao Zhongchen sneered. After the meeting quieted down, he said, "Because of what you have done, Lin's group has fallen into an irrecoverable situation." Lin Momo frowned and asked, "What do you mean?" "What do I mean?" The Jade Gang in Myanmar has been very dissatisfied with our Lin's group recently. They have just issued a notice to the marketing department to stop all jade sales to Lin's group. Zhao Zhongchen seemed to have regained the initiative. He raised his voice and said, 80% of our Lin's group's industry is jade. If the Jade Gang stops the supply of raw gemstones to us, it will be a devastating blow. If you don't hold this raw gemstone exhibition, our inventory may be able to support for a while, but now the original accumulation of raw gemstones has been sold out by you. How can Lin's group continue to sell? Are we going to starve?" After hearing his words, there was a commotion in the meeting room, and all the directors were not calm. This news was absolutely devastating to Lin's group. If the supply of raw stones from Burma to Lin's group was stopped, then Lin's group would really close down. Only Lin Zhigao and Lin Pingqiao sat there with a very calm expression. On the contrary, there was an imperceptible smile on their lips. At this time, Lin Momo already knew where Zhao Zhongchen's confidence in initiating the vote for the replacement of the president came from. It turned out that the problem was the Jade Gang in Myanmar, but this dilemma seemed to be really unsolvable. She asked with a sullen face, "Is this news accurate?" Zhao Zhongchen said affirmatively, "Of course it is accurate. The purchasing department has received an official notice from the Jade Gang in Myanmar. At the same time, I have also asked. The inventory of our Lin's group can only support for 3 months at most. After 3 months, we will close down." Lin Momo asked, "Why?" We have been cooperating with the Jade Gang for many years and have always had a good relationship. Why did they stop the supply of raw gemstones to us? Did you explain the reason? The reason is that the reason why the Jade Gang terminated the cooperation with Lin's group is entirely because of you and Qin Haodong. Zhao Zhongchen looked more and more proud and continued, Qin Haodong destroyed a big business of the Jade Gang a few days ago, causing them heavy losses. And the Jade Gang knew that Qin Haodong was an employee of our Lin's group and had a deep relationship with the current president, so they angrily stopped the supply of raw gemstones to us. Speaking of this, he turned to the other directors and said, Zhou Tianhu, the leader of the Jade Gang, said that it is easy to restore the supply of raw gemstones to Lin's group. There are only two conditions. First, send Qin Haodong to the Jade Gang. Second, let Lin Momo give up the position of president, otherwise the cooperation with Lin's group will be terminated forever. Chapter 128. As soon as Zhao Zhongchen's voice fell, Lin Momo slapped the table and said angrily, the Jade Gang is engaged in drug trafficking instead of doing proper business. Qin Haodong helps the police to solve the case, which is to eliminate evil for the people. How can we hand over such a person to the Jade Gang? At this time, Zhao Zhongchen had no other scruples. He cried tit for tat, drug trafficking is the business of the Jade Gang. Solving the case is the business of the police. What does it have to do with Qin Haodong? Now, he is in the limelight with the police, but it is our Lin's group that suffers. Speaking of this, he turned to the directors behind him and shouted, now because of Qin Haodong, the interests of our whole group have been affected. Do you think we should hand him over to the Jade Gang? Should we let Lin Momo give up the position of president? In his expectations, all the directors should be filled with righteous indignation about this matter. As long as he stood up and shouted, everyone would respond. Who knew that after he shouted for a long time, the audience was still silent, and not a single person echoed him? Zhao Zhongchen didn't expect this result. He was embarrassed. At the same time, he didn't understand what was wrong with these directors. In fact, sensible people had sensible ideas. Although the current situation was very unfavorable for Lin's group, after all, the Lin family and Zhao Zhongchen were the major shareholders. They should be anxious. Although these directors also had shares in their hands, they were just awed by Qin Haodong's medical skills. Later they would ask for medical treatment. How could they stand up and oppose openly now? Lin Pingchao secretly scolded Zhao Zhongchen for being an idiot. It was clear that these people would ask Qin Haodong for help later. Now it was enough to incite them to oppose Lin Momo. Why did they bring Qin Haodong with them? They had no brains. At this time, Qin Haodong stood up again and walked to Zhao Zhongchen with a smile. What are you going to do? Don't come over. I tell you that it's illegal to hit people. If you dare to touch me again, I will call the police immediately. Zhao Zhongchen was now very afraid of Qin Haodong. Although he spoke in a tough tone, he kept stepping back, and his legs began to tremble slightly. Other directors also locked their eyes on the hot-tempered young man. Qin Haodong's fierce appearance just now left a deep impression on them. They didn't know if he would break Zhao Zhongchen's legs this time. Don't worry, we are all civilized people. I won't hurt you. Qin Haodong still had a bright smile on his face, but as soon as he finished speaking, he raised his hand and slapped Zhao Hongmao to the ground. Zhao Hongmao was completely dumbfounded. Since he was taught a lesson last time, he was now completely afraid of Qin Haodong. Although he attended the board meeting today, he had been sitting there without saying a word since Qin Haodong walked into the meeting room. He didn't even respond to his father's suggestion. He was even more obedient than a baby. But he didn't expect that he would still be beaten by Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong, Zhongchen, why did you hit me? I didn't. I Zhao. Zhongchen. I Zhao. As he was. As. Qin Haodong, R. Ming, Qin. Ha. Qin. Zhao Zhongchen also roared angrily. Zhao Zhongchen said. Qin. Yang Qin. Zhongchen. Qin. Gang Qin Yang of. I to say. As. Shan. Qin Gang. Qin. Is it your business to beat your son? The smile on Qin Haodong's face suddenly disappeared. He shouted in a stern voice, the Burmese transported drugs to Huaxia and poisoned all of us. They are our compatriots. Do you think it's none of my business? If drugs are allowed to spread, it may be your son, or my son, or the son of any director here. As a Huaxia man, shouldn't I stand up to stop this kind of dirty business, which is harmful to the country and the people? Who dares to say that I, Qin Haodong, am wrong? Zhao Zhongchen was suddenly speechless. Qin Haodong's counterattack was strange, but it hit his sore spot, which made him suffer in silence. Qin Haodong's words were righteous and reasonable. At first, a few people under the stage applauded, and then more and more people applauded. Finally, the applause became louder. Seeing that Zhao Zhongchen was easily defeated by Qin Haodong again, Lin Pingchao said, now we are not talking about national righteousness, but the dilemma facing Lin's group. Whether the Jade Gang is right or not, they really control our raw jade stone supply. Now they are not happy, and we can't get a stone. How can Lin's group run? Lin Zhigao sighed and pretended to be sad. He said, now we have no other way. We can only do what the Jade Gang said. Even if we don't hand Qin Haodong over to Burma, we must let him leave Lin's group. Otherwise, we have no room for negotiation. At the same time, Momo can't continue to sit in the position of president. We must replace her. Although Momo has done a good job in recent years, there is no other way. It is all for the survival of Lin's group. Qin Haodong said coldly, being threatened by a small Jade Gang, Lin's group has to give in and replace its president. Isn't it too cowardly? If we do this, will Lin's group still have face? Will it still be able to survive in Jiangnan City in the future? His words once again hit the sore spot in the hearts of many directors. Indeed, Lin's group was one of the largest consortiums in the south of the Yangtze River. If it was threatened to replace the president by an underground gang in Burma, it would be really shameful. As the directors of the group, they would also lose face. Lin Zhigao glared at Qin Haodong and said, what do you say? If the Jade Gang doesn't give us raw jade stones, then Lin's group will have no raw materials, and the whole group can only close down. Qin Haodong said lightly, if we can solve the raw jade stone supply, will all this be no problem? Lin Zhigao said, of course, what we need now is raw jade stone as raw materials, but jade is only available in Burma. There is no second place in the world. If the Jade Gang doesn't supply, we can't solve the problem. Well, I'll take care of the short-term raw jade supply of Lin's group. I can guarantee that there will be no problem in the supply within half a year. Qin Haodong had just learned from Lin Momo that Lin's group's annual purchase of jade was about 3 billion yuan, so the raw jade stones in the warehouse of Daddy Security Company were enough to support him for half a year. At the same time, he was also secretly glad that he did not give those raw jade stones to Lin's group at that time, otherwise he would not have this trump card now. Lin Zhigao cried, nonsense, do you know how much raw jade stones Lin's group consumes in half a year? Where can you get so many raw materials? Qin Haodong said confidently, don't worry about it. As long as there is a shortage of raw materials within half a year, I will leave Lin's group immediately, and Momo will resign as president. Zhao Zhongchen said sarcastically, you are at most a group's healthcare doctor. When can a healthcare doctor speak for the president? Lin Momo said, what he means is what I mean. If there is a shortage of raw jade materials within half a year, I will resign as president immediately. Lin Zhigao said, but the survival time of Lin's group can't be limited to half a year. There will be no shortage of raw materials within half a year. What about after half a year? Qin Haodong said, I will solve the problem of the Jade Gang within half a year. There will be no problem with raw materials then. Lin Pingchao said, I don't agree. Qin Haodong is just a doctor. We can't bet the fate of the whole company on his promise. So I insist on initiating a president replacement vote. Only by replacing the current president of Lin's group can we win the opportunity to negotiate with the Jade Gang. Zhao Zhongchen and Lin Zhigao also said, we also suggest initiating a president replacement vote. Although today's meeting had gone beyond their control, they still felt a little unwilling if they did not initiate a vote. Well, since you insist, let's hold a vote. Lin Momo glanced at the directors and major shareholders under the stage and said, thank you for your support in the past. Although Lin's group faces a huge test this time, please believe me. As long as you give me time, the problem of the Jade Gang will be solved. Qin Haodong then said, I know you are not very familiar with me, but my promise is as trustworthy as my medical skills. I hope you can continue to believe in President Lin Momo. When he spoke, he quietly used mind bewitching. Although most of these directors and major shareholders would support Lin Momo through what had just happened, it was better to be safe. Who knew what dirty tricks Lin Pingchao and others would play in private? Of course, his mind bewitching did not cover Zhao Zhongchen and Lin Zhigao. Otherwise, if the pass rate was too high, it would arouse other suspicion. Lin Pingchao glared at Qin Haodong fiercely. If it hadn't been for this toy boy, today's meeting would never have been so passive. He said, well, let's start voting. The conference room of Lin's group was extremely modern. There was a voting machine in front of each participant. After the announcement of the start of the voting, all the directors and major shareholders picked up the voting machine in front of them and began to vote. Once the vote was cast, the result would be reflected on the big screen in front of the conference room. 3 minutes later, the voting was over. Lin Pingchao looked at the result on the big screen. There was a flash of resentment and disappointment in his eyes. 90% of the votes supported Lin Momo to continue as the president. He snorted, got up and left the conference room. Today's efforts were in vain. After he left, Zhao Zhongchen and Zhao Hongmao naturally did not dare to stay to face Qin Haodong, so they also left the conference room. After they left, other directors immediately gathered around Qin Haodong and shouted, when will Dr. Qin see us? Thank you for your support. Qin Haodong made an obeisance to these directors and shareholders, and then said, please wait for me in the infirmary. I will go to see you immediately after I have a few words with the president. Seeing that Qin Haodong agreed to treat everyone immediately, these people left the conference room happily and went to the infirmary to wait in line. Qin Haodong and Lin Momo returned to her president's office. After closing the door, Lin Momo asked, what do you think of today's event? Your second uncle and Lin Pingchao want to take your position as president. There is no doubt about it. Zhao Zhongchen is also on their side. Chapter 129. Qin Haodong said, I don't think the Jade Gang's sudden attack this time is simple. Although they hate my guts, they will never hate money. As you said, the Jade Gang is very important to Lin's group, but Lin's group is also a big customer of the Jade Gang. Zhou Tianhu, the gang leader, is definitely not an idiot. Normally, he should not make such a hasty decision. Lin Momo nodded. She also agreed with Qin Haodong's statement and said, but now it has happened. The Jade Gang has indeed terminated the cooperation with Lin's group. Zhao Zhongchen would not dare to lie about such a big event even if he had the courage. I think there is a mole in Lin's group. They must have secretly reached an agreement with the Jade Gang. The purpose is to push you down from the position of president. Lin Momo was shocked and cried, do you mean my second uncle colluded with the Jade Gang? I don't think it's possible. Nothing is impossible. In the eyes of some people, as long as there is money, as long as it is for interests, they can sell anything. Moreover, they are very dissatisfied with you sitting in the position of president. But the person who colluded with the Jade Gang may be your second uncle's family, or Zhao Zhongchen and his son. After all, you took Zhao Hongmao down from the position of vice president. It is normal for them to retaliate against you. Qin Haodong patted her on the shoulder and comforted her. Don't think so much. We are just guessing now. Maybe it is just a coincidence, but it is necessary to do some preparation. Then he called, Qianqian, come out for a minute. Yes, boss. A black shadow suddenly appeared in the room. It was Yao Qianqian, who was sent by Qin Haodong to protect Lin Momo. The task of daytime protection will be handed over to the divine mercenaries. You are responsible for following Lin Pingchao. If he has any abnormal reaction, tell me immediately. Got it, boss. I'll go now. Then Yao Qianqian disappeared from the room again. It could be seen that the hiding skills she had learned from the crazy Taoist were really superb. Looking at Qin Haodong, who arranged everything for her, Lin Momo felt a great sense of happiness. Without this man, she really didn't know how to face those aggressive shareholders today, and how to deal with the aggressive Zhao Zhongchen and Lin Zhigao. Over the years, she had struggled alone. At this moment, she felt physically and mentally exhausted. She couldn't help throwing herself into Qin Haodong's arms and pressing her cheek tightly against his chest. Thank you, Haodong. Lin Momo whispered in Qin Haodong's ear. What are you thanking me for? You're my woman, Tang Tang's mother. It's my duty to protect you. At this moment, in Lin Momo's heart, there was no safer place in the world than Qin Haodong's embrace. After a while, she raised her head and kissed Qin Haodong's cheek. Then she left his arms and said, Haodong, are you sure those jades can last for half a year? Of course they can. My raw gemstones are all treasures. Each of them contains jade of all levels. It's a conservative statement to say that they can last for half a year. With the 3-month stock of Lin's group, there should be no problem to support them for a year. That's good. Otherwise, if the raw jade gemstones are really out of stock, it will be a devastating blow to a group. Lin Momo breathed a sigh of relief. She secretly felt lucky that Qin Haodong had stored so many raw jade gemstones, otherwise it would be really difficult to solve now. Qin Haodong stared at her and said with a smile, but President Lin, let's make it clear that those raw jade gemstones are my daughter's dowry. I can supply them to Lin's group, but I can't reduce the payment. Getting a positive answer from Qin Haodong, Lin Momo's mood also relaxed a lot. Then she said with a smile, didn't you say you would help me? Why do you still want money? I can help you. If it's your own company, I won't give you a cent of these stones for free. But now you and old Lin only have 10% of the shares. If I sell less, it will benefit Lin Zhigao and Zhao Zhongchen. I won't do a losing deal. I know what you're thinking. Lin Momo took Qin Haodong's hand and said, don't worry. These raw jade gemstones will be paid according to the market price. I won't agree if it's less. Moreover, it's already valuable to supply the group in this case. It's good that you don't take advantage of the situation. Then she said with some worry, but what if we use up all these raw jade gemstones? Companies like us in the jade business can't do without the jade gang in Burma. Qin Haodong said confidently, the reason why I said half a year is that the person hiding in the dark has not been found. When I find that guy, I will go to Burma. I can make Zhou Tianhu kneel down and lick the small jade gang in minutes. Your toes. Lin Momo raised her hand and punched Qin Haodong in the chest. She said coquettishly, you're so disgusting. I won't let him lick my toes. Qin Haodong said with a smile, yes, I will suffer. Let's let him lick Damao and Ermao's toes. Where are Damao and Ermao? I want to play with them. As they spoke, the door opened and Enbairu came in with the little fellow. After Qin Haodong got out of the car, he asked Saber to send her to Enbairu. Papa, where are Damao and Ermao? The little fellow asked innocently while looking around. Qin Haodong said, Damao and Ermao are at home. You can play with them when you go back at night. Lin Momo said to Qin Haodong, leave Tang with me. Those people are still waiting for you in the infirmary. Today, it was all thanks to your medical skills that you helped a lot. Well, I'll go and see them first. Qin Haodong waved to the little fellow and then walked to the infirmary. At the moment, in the infirmary, Zhang Jijia, the health doctor, was so busy that he was sweating. Originally, he was playing with his mobile phone in the office. He didn't expect that the leaders of the group would come to the infirmary one after another, which made him quite nervous. He quickly poured water and took a cigarette, and waited carefully. After all, these people were either the directors of the group or the major shareholders of the company. He couldn't afford any of them. Fortunately, these people were waiting for Qin Haodong and didn't make trouble for him. As Zhang Jijie suffered in pain, time passed minute by minute. Suddenly, the door opened and Qin Haodong came in from the outside. After entering the room, he frowned when he saw the room full of people. He waved his hand and said, "Go out and line up, one by one." Seeing that Qin Haodong talked to the directors so rudely, Zhang Jijie was scared and quickly whispered in his ear, "Brother, they are not ordinary patients. They are all directors or major shareholders of the group. Don't offend them." Qin Haodong said with a smile, "It's okay. It's okay. They are just patients who come to see a doctor. It's no big deal." "Well, brother, you don't know." What else did Zhang Jijie want to say? However, these directors, who were usually arrogant, didn't show any dissatisfaction. They obediently went out of the room and automatically lined up at the door. Zhang Jijie opened his mouth in surprise and couldn't close it for a long time. He didn't understand why these people were so obedient in front of Qin Haodong. Of course, he didn't know what these directors were thinking. Just at the board meeting, Qin Haodong beat Zhao Zhongchen and his son, the major shareholders, like dogs. How could they dare to make trouble here? Soon, a shareholder with glasses, who was the first in the line, came to Qin Haodong and said respectfully, "Dr. Qin, my name is Wang Gang. Please take a look at me." Qin Haodong nodded and motioned him to sit down at his table. Then he began to feel the pulse. After feeling the pulse, Wang Gang asked carefully, "Dr. Qin, how is my body?" "Recently, I always feel weak in my limbs and the world is spinning. At that time, I was also a little weak." "You are in your 50s this year, right?" Qin Haodong asked. "Exactly 55, Wang Gang said. "At this age, you still take small blue pills as a meal. Aren't you looking for death? After a period of time, the kidneys will die. At that time, it will not be a problem of weak limbs." Wang Gang was shocked at first, and then he said with embarrassment, "Dr. Qin, I know what you said is reasonable, but I just married a model in her 20s. If I don't take medicine, I really can't. I'm afraid that she will wear a green hat again." The shareholder named Wang Gang was an honest man. He didn't hide anything and told Qin Haodong everything. Qin Haodong smiled and said, "Middle-aged people like you are rich and successful. It's normal for you to satisfy a man's desire. But you should take it easy. Otherwise, it won't be worth it if you lose your life." "Dr. Qin, you are a magic doctor. Can you help me find a way? As long as you can help me get better, you can ask me how much money you need," Wang Gang said with a pleading face. For successful people of his age, money was just a pile of numbers, far less important than health. "Lie down, I'll help you treat it, at least for a short time." Qin Haodong let Wang Gang lie on the bed, then took out the silver needles and used the acupuncture method of Sanyang Kaitai to help him replenish the yang qi in his kidney. 5 minutes later, he took back the silver needles and said, "Get up, it's all right." Just when Qin Haodong was using the needles, Wang Gang had already felt that the essence in his body was getting more and more abundant. His whole body was full of strength, as if he could kill a cow with one punch. He jumped up from the bed and felt that the whole person had suddenly returned to the youth. His body hadn't felt so comfortable for a long time. "Dr. Qin, a magic doctor. You really are a magic doctor. I went to many hospitals, but there was no way to cure it. I didn't expect that I would be cured with a few needles. I have a physique-improving pill here. Take it when you go back. It can guarantee that you will be strong and healthy for at least a year. But you still have to take it easy. Take it once a day at most, and don't take the little blue pill again. Qin Haodong handed a small black pill to Wang Gang. It was made with the leftover materials from the last time he refined the little strengthening elixir. Although its efficacy was less than 1% of that of the little strengthening elixir, it was enough for ordinary people. Hearing that Qin Haodong could take it once a day, Wang Gang was immediately overjoyed. In his current physical state, he had to rely on taking medicine once every 10 days, or the second master would not give him face at all. Dr. Qin, thank you. Thank you so much. There is 1 million in this card, and the password is 6/8. Please accept it. Wang Gang put a bank card in front of Qin Haodong and thanked him profusely. He dared not offend such a great magic doctor. After all, he was getting older and his body was getting worse. What's more, a physique-improving pill could only guarantee him to be strong for a year, and he would have to trouble the magic doctor to treat him in the future. Chapter 130. Soon, the second shareholder walked into the infirmary. Rich people like them generally had chronic diseases and sub-health. These were diseases that Western medicine had no good way to cure, otherwise they would have been cured. These diseases were simple for Qin Haodong. After regulating the meridians with silver needles and taking a physique-improving pill, he would immediately become vigorous. Although there were more than 30 patients in total, Qin Haodong had basically finished the treatment when it was almost time to get off work. At the same time, there was a thick stack of bank cards on his desk. At this time, the last patient came in. He was in his 40s and was a shareholder of the company, Zhao Peng. After the treatment, Zhao Peng said to Qin Haodong, Dr. Qin, do you still have this physique-improving pill? My father is getting old, and I want to buy one for him. Qin Haodong had at least 100 low-level pills like this in his storage ring. He took out another one and handed it to Zhao Peng. He said, I didn't expect you to be so filial. Take it. Thank you, Dr. Qin. There is 1 million in this card. Please accept it. Zhao Peng put a bank card on Qin Haodong's desk and then left the infirmary with 2 pills. Qin Haodong put the stack of bank cards on the table into his pocket under Zhang Jijie's envious eyes. Then he returned to the president's office and took the little fellow home with Lin Momo. In the group building, Zhao Peng returned to his office and took out one of the 2 physique-improving pills in his hand and put it into his mouth. Although it was a low-level pill, Qin Haodong's refining method was special. He directly extracted all the essence of the medicinal materials, so it melted in his mouth. Soon, Zhao Peng felt that his exhausted body was full of strength. The whole person seemed to be 10 years younger. Even the second leader felt energetic and ready to move. Good stuff. It's really good stuff. Zhao Peng looked happy and took the remaining physique-improving pill to the next room. In the room, Zhao Zhongchen was pacing back and forth. When he saw Zhao Peng, he immediately asked expectantly, how is it? Did Qin Haodong give you any pills? Second uncle, I've got it. Zhao Peng said and sent the pill in his hand to Zhao Zhongchen. Second uncle, I took 2 pills in total. I have already taken one to test the effect. This one is for you. How is it? Is it effective? Zhao Zhongchen asked. Second uncle, Qin Haodong really has some skills. I've never seen such a good doctor. Those who have seen me before all said that he is good. I just tried it. It only took him a few minutes to cure my cervical spondylosis. Qin Haodong said with a smile on his face. I'm not asking you about that. I'm asking if the pill is effective. Although Zhao Zhongchen was over 60 years old, he was an old goat. What he was most concerned about now was the aphrodisiac effect of the physique-improving pill. Oh. Zhao Peng immediately understood and said, "It's good. I just ate it. Although I haven't had sex yet, I can feel that it's definitely good." "That's great. That's great." Zhao Zhongchen hurriedly put the pill in his hand into his mouth. After a few minutes, he was much more energetic. He hurriedly left the office and rushed to his lover's home. It seemed that he was eager to regain his masculinity. The next morning, when Qin Haodong was about to send the little fellow to school with Lin Momo, he received a call from Nailan Wushuang. "Haodong, have you come back from your hometown?" Nailan Wushuang asked. "I'm back." "What's the matter?" Nailan Wushuang said, "Oh, then come to the security company. Now there are nearly 100 injured veterans waiting for your treatment." Qin Haodong was startled and asked in surprise, "What? Why are there so many? Didn't I say that our security company is saturated and we don't need to recruit more people?" The security market in Jiangnan City was not so big. Nearly 100 security guards in Daddy's security company had been saturated. Qin Haodong had already told Nailan Wushuang that there was no need to recruit more people. Nailan Wushuang said helplessly, "I also know that we are saturated. I didn't recruit these people." "Then how did they come?" Qin Haodong asked strangely. "The people in our security company are all retired soldiers. Everyone has a few good comrades when they were in the army. How could they not tell their comrades when they met a miracle-working doctor like you? So these people came here after hearing the news, and most of them came from thousands of miles away. There are people from all over Huaxia." "Well..." Qin Haodong hesitated for a moment and said, "Well, we can't drive them away when they come. Let's talk about whether to recruit them into our security company in the future. Let's cure their diseases first." Qin Haodong hung up the phone, said goodbye to Lin Momo, and drove straight to Daddy's security company. After entering the company, he saw nearly 100 people standing on the training ground in front of the company. Some were on crutches, some were in wheelchairs, and some were even lying on stretchers. These people were similar to Zhang Tiniu. They were all Huaxia Special Forces soldiers who retired because of injuries. Seeing Qin Haodong enter the door, Zhang Tiniu came over with a wheelchair and said, "Boss, this is Xia Dongliang, my comrade in the army. His legs were disabled because he covered me. As long as you can cure his injuries, I, Zhang Tiniu, will repay you for the rest of my life. I will work for you in the security company for the rest of my life, and I won't take a penny. Yes, boss, this is also my best comrade. As long as you can cure him, I will sell my life to the security company, boss. As long as you can cure my comrade, I will give my life to the security company." The staff of Daddy's security company who were at home quickly gathered around Qin Haodong, eagerly waiting for him to treat their comrade in arms. Qin Haodong glanced at these people and felt the strong comradeship. He was quite moved. He said, "Everyone, you have been injured and bled for Huaxia. You are all heroes of our land. I, Qin Haodong, have no conditions. As long as I can cure you, I will do my best to cure you." Then he asked Zhang Tiniu to organize these people to see the doctor in order. He found an empty room on the first floor as a consulting room and began to treat these people one by one. Although Qin Haodong's medical skills were good and profound, he was so tired after a busy day that his waist and legs ached. Fortunately, these people were almost healed by evening. He stood up and stretched, moving his stiff limbs, and shouted to the door, "Is there anyone else to treat?" "Me too." With a slightly joking answer, Ma Wenjue and Nailan Wushuang came in from outside. Qin Haodong remembered that when he was in Wufeng County, he had told Ma Wenjue to come to him today. "Haodong, he said he was your classmate." Nailan Wushuang said. Ma Wenjue punched Qin Haodong on the shoulder and said, "Boy, I thought you lied to me. You really have such a big business." Qin Haodong patted Ma Wenjue on the shoulder and said to Nailan Wushuang, "Let me introduce you. This is my best buddy, Ma Wenjue, my junior high school classmate. This is Miss Nailan Wushuang, the manager and chairman of Daddy's security company." After greeting Nalan Wushuang, Ma Wenjue said to Qin Haodong, "Boy, you are really good. Why are there so many beautiful women around you now?" Then he said to Nalan Wushuang, "Beauty, do you have a boyfriend?" "I am single now." Nalan Wushuang looked at Qin Haodong meaningfully and said, "You have to ask him whether I have a boyfriend or not." Ma Wenjue immediately said with a painful face, "Beauty, what's wrong with your eyes? I am obviously much more handsome than Qin Haodong. When I was at school, people called me Brother Ma." Nalan Wushuang said with a smile, "You two are the same. You are not serious. No wonder you have such a good relationship." "I have a good relationship because I have paid a lot. When I was at school, he often provoked other girls and was chased and beaten by all the boys in the school. If I hadn't protected him, he would have been disfigured. At that time, as long as he was beaten, he would use me as a meat shield. If I hadn't been stronger, I would have been beaten." Ma Wenjue looked at Qin Haodong again and asked with a strange face, "By the way, you were beaten at that time, but I didn't see you as powerful as you are now. You left with Magistrate Zhao in a hurry that day. I didn't have time to ask you how you beat the big black guy. Did you find some martial arts manuals in the past few years? Did you secretly practice the Sunflower Treasured Book?" At the party that day, Qin Haodong beat the big black guy Kafu with one move. Ma Wenjue was stunned and envious. He wanted to ask Qin Haodong where he learned this kung fu, but then Magistrate Zhao Yang came, so he didn't have time to ask. Qin Haodong said, "You are right. I have been learning from a master in the past few years. If you want to learn, I can teach you." Of course, he would not tell the secret of his reincarnation, so he could only find an imaginary master for himself. Ma Wenjue said quickly, "I want to learn, of course, I want to learn. These years, I have been beaten by others. How can I learn some kung fu? In the future, I will be a hero to save the beauty. Come here, I will feel your pulse first to see if you are suitable for practicing martial arts." Qin Haodong said and asked Ma Wenjue to sit down in front of the booth. "Do I need to feel my pulse? I am definitely a natural martial arts genius. As long as I learn for 3 or 5 years, I will be the first master in the world." Ma Wenjue said and laughed while sitting in front of Qin Haodong and reaching out his right hand. Qin Haodong put his hand on Ma Wenjue's pulse. At first, he was still smiling, but soon the smile disappeared, followed by a look of horror. "Bro, what do you mean by that? Are you telling me that you are pregnant?" Seeing Qin Haodong's expression, Ma Wenjue suddenly became nervous. At this time, Qin Haodong's heart had set off a huge wave, and he was not in the mood to bicker with Ma Wenjue. He never expected that his good brother turned out to be a congenital meridian unblocking. People with this kind of meridian were called holy bodies in the cultivation world. The meridians of ordinary people were closed, and only through acquired cultivation could they be opened. Cultivators called opening the meridians of the whole body as foundation establishment, which, as the name suggested, was to lay the foundation for future cultivation. But 90% of cultivators could not complete the foundation establishment in their lifetime. But congenital meridian unblocking could eliminate this hurdle. After birth, the meridians of the whole body were open, and the width and toughness of the meridians were far beyond that of ordinary people. Once such people began to cultivate, their speed was definitely more than 100 times that of ordinary people, so in the cultivation world, people with this kind of physique were called holy bodies. And there were very few people with this kind of physique. He had been in the cultivation world for 500 years, but he had only seen Empress Shantian with a holy body. According to ancient records, there were many kinds of holy bodies, and it was not possible to determine which one Ma Wenjue belonged to by feeling his pulse. Thinking of this, Qin Haodong reached out to touch Ma Wenjue's body. He wanted to determine which kind of holy body his good brother belonged to. Chapter 131. Although Ma Wenjue wanted to resist, he was no match for Qin Haodong. Soon, he was touched all over his body. It's over. I've lost my virginity. Ma Wenjue screamed miserably. He turned around and cried to Nalan Wushuang with a sad face, "Beauty, I'm innocent. Don't get me wrong. I have absolutely no improper relationship with this guy. I only like women, not men." Nalan Wushuang looked at the two of them and laughed, but she didn't know what Qin Haodong was going to do. Soon, Qin Haodong let go of Ma Wenjue, but his eyes were still staring at him. Kailan holy body. Ma Wenjue was so lucky that he not only had a holy body, which was rare in 1,000 years, but also the legendary Kailan holy body, ranked 8th in the top 10 holy bodies. Don't underestimate the Kailan holy body just because it was ranked 8th, because the top 10 holy bodies were all legendary existences. Anyone who cultivated a holy body to the extreme could sweep a plane. Ma Wenjue seemed to be afraid of Qin Haodong. He took a few steps back and cried, "Don't look at me like that. I'm telling you, we can only be brothers in this life. It's absolutely impossible for us to have a relationship beyond friendship. Do you think I care about you?" Qin Haodong slowly recovered from the shock. Ma Wenjue had the Kailan holy body. He was only happy for his good brother, without any jealousy. "What did you do just now?" Ma Wenjue asked. "I just checked your physique. I didn't expect you to be so lucky." It turned out to be the extremely rare Kailan holy body. "What, Kailan holy body? Isn't it awesome?" Ma Wenjue was just an ordinary person now. He knew nothing about the Kailan holy body, but the name sounded very powerful. Qin Haodong said, "It's not very awesome, but quite awesome." Holy **T, really? Ma Wenjue was surprised at first, and then laughed arrogantly. He patted Qin Haodong on the shoulder and said, "Buddy, I told you that you're a martial arts genius. If you need anything in the future, just come to me. I'll protect you. Well, don't show off. I'll help you activate your physique first. Otherwise, you can't use the Kailan holy body at all. It's useless except for resistance." Okay. What should I do to activate my constitution?" Ma Wenjue asked impatiently. This guy grew up watching martial arts movies. Now that he heard that he could become a master, he could no longer suppress the excitement in his heart. "Take off your clothes and lie on the bed." Qin Haodong turned around and said to Nalan Wushuang, "Wait for me outside. From now on, don't let anyone disturb me." As a warrior, Nalan Wushuang knew how important what Qin Haodong was going to do. She didn't say much and went straight to the door. Then she called Zhang Tinu and the others over and arranged 10 security guards from Daddy's security company to guard the door. Qin Haodong closed the door. At this time, Ma Wenjue had taken off his shirt and trousers, leaving only his underwear. "Take this off, too," Qin Haodong said. "Take off your pants? Do you really want to take advantage of me by turning into a big glass?" Ma Wenjue looked at Qin Haodong nervously and said, "Cut the crap. Even if I'm made of glass, I won't fall for you," Qin Haodong said as he took out the needle bag. Looking at the dense silver needles in the needle bag, Ma Wenjue asked, "Do you mean to prick me with needles to activate my constitution?" "Of course, and a lot of needles." Although Ma Wenjue was a little afraid, out of his desire to become a master and his trust in Qin Haodong, he took off his underwear and lay on the bed. It was definitely not easy to activate the fighting constitution of the Kailan holy body. Qin Haodong also happened to get an ancient book when he was in the cultivation world, which recorded a set of rising dragon needles. It was said that it could activate the holy body. However, the holy body was extremely rare in the past, and today was the first time he used it. After both of them were ready, Qin Haodong took a deep breath, took out a silver needle and slowly pierced it into Ma Wenjue's dantian. With Qin Haodong's current cultivation, it was extremely difficult for him to perform the rising dragon needles. After a dozen silver needles in a row, fine beads of sweat began to appear on his forehead. Ma Wenjue felt that every time he pierced a silver needle, his body seemed to be ignited. As the silver needles pierced more and more, his body became hotter and hotter. He gritted his teeth, endured the burning heat in his body, and cried, "Dong, are you going to make a barbecue? I'm going to be cooked in a minute. Don't talk nonsense. Calm down, so you can feel better." Although Ma Wenjue usually liked to quarrel with Qin Haodong, he still trusted this brother 100% at the critical moment. He immediately closed his eyes and silently endured the pain in his body. Finally, Qin Haodong pierced all the 108 silver needles into Ma Wenjue's body. When the last silver needle was pierced, he collapsed to the ground, panting heavily. At this time, Ma Wenjue was like a roasted prawn. His whole body was red, and people could feel the burning breath on his body from a few meters away. "Dude, turn on the air conditioner quickly, or pour a few buckets of water on me, or I'll really catch fire," Ma Wenjue cried with a painful expression. "It's not so easy to become a master. Hold on for another 10 minutes. You'll be fine after 10 minutes. After saying that, Qin Haodong hurried to restore his genuine qi. After all, the current work had just been done halfway, and he still had to guide Ma Wenjue to complete the Zhuji phase. "Well, if I'm going to be burned to death, be sure to choose a good cemetery for me." Ma Wenjue was really a weirdo. He was obviously tortured to death by the burning breath in his body, but he was still in the mood to joke. Time passed, and finally 10 minutes passed. Qin Haodong jumped up from the ground and quickly removed all the silver needles from Ma Wenjue's body. Then he asked him to sit cross-legged, stretched out a palm to the Mingmen acupoint on his back, and injected the green wood genuine qi into his dantian. "Follow my genuine qi with your mind. Don't be distracted, or all the previous efforts will be in vain." After saying that, Qin Haodong controlled a wisp of green wood genuine qi to rise from Ma Wenjue's dantian, and then ran it slowly along a special route. At this time, his genuine qi was not running the longevity method of Emperor Green Wood genuine qi, but the dragon tactics of the divine dragon sect of the cultivation world. This was already the highest level of cultivation method he knew. It was said that Kailan was the descendant of the dragon clan. According to this principle, the dragon tactics should be suitable for Ma Wenjue's Kailan holy body. It turned out that Qin Haodong's speculation was correct. With the operation of the dragon tactics, the burning breath in Ma Wenjue's body immediately rushed into his dantian like 100 rivers flowing into the sea, and then turned into a genuine qi, running together with Qin Haodong's green wood genuine qi. About half an hour later, Qin Haodong guided Ma Wenjue to complete the first major circulation. At this time, the burning breath in his body had been restrained a little. At the same time, the genuine qi in his dantian was more abundant, and his whole body began to faintly exude the breath of a warrior. At this time, he had completed the first level of qi training. After that, Qin Haodong guided Ma Wenjue to run 2 major circulation in succession. When he was fully adapted to the route, he began to withdraw his green wood genuine qi and let him control it. Ma Wenjue began to run his genuine qi according to the dragon tactics. Every time he completed a major circulation, the breath in his body would strengthen a little, the burning breath would weaken a little, and his cultivation would also improve by a level. The 3rd level of qi training, the 4th level of qi training, the 5th level of qi training, when he completed 9 circulations, his cultivation had reached the 9th level of qi training, and he was about to enter the level of foundation establishment. If ordinary people wanted to break through the bottleneck of foundation establishment, they would definitely make great efforts, but the meridians of Kailan holy body were interconnected. There was no bottleneck at all in foundation establishment. Breaking through was as simple as eating and drinking. Soon, Ma Wenjue completed the 10th major circulation of genuine qi, and his momentum suddenly increased more than 10 times. He had entered foundation establishment. At this time, his constitution, which had just been stimulated by Qin Haodong, had been completely absorbed, and there was no more motivation to improve. Even so, it was enough to make Qin Haodong envious. As a reborn person, he was still stuck in the bottleneck of foundation establishment and could not break through. Moreover, with Ma Wenjua's Kylan holy body, his cultivation speed would be more than 10 times faster than that of ordinary people. It was absolutely a rocket-like speed. Moreover, with Qin Haodong's cultivation, he only activated 1% of Ma Wenjua's Kylan constitution. If he really activated the whole constitution, it would be a heaven-defying existence. Ha ha ha, I'm also a master. Feeling the powerful genuine qi in his body, Ma Wenjua was so excited that he jumped from the bed to the ground. But he was just an ordinary person before, and he couldn't control the powerful force in his body at this time. He used too much force, bounced up from the ground, and hit his head hard on the roof. With a bang, the guy's head was fine, but the bricks and stones on the roof flew everywhere, and the whole room shook. What the hell, are you going to demolish the house? Qin Haodong hurriedly held Ma Wenjua down. If he was tossed around by this guy again, the house would really collapse. Ma Wenjua still couldn't hide his excitement and shouted excitedly, "Ha ha ha, I'm a master now, the #1 master in the world." Qin Haodong said disdainfully, "Bullshit, you're still far from being the #1 master in the world. You can't even control your own strength. You're not convinced, right? Then let's fight together. I'll beat you until you look for your teeth all over the ground." With such a powerful force all of a sudden, Ma Wenjua was like a poor man who suddenly became rich. He was very eager to show off. "Let's go outside and show you how powerful I am." "Wait a minute, you." Before Qin Haodong finished speaking, he was interrupted by Ma Wenjua. "What are you waiting for? I can't wait any longer. Come out and fight with me." After that, he opened the door and rushed to the training ground outside. When he arrived at the training ground, in addition to the 10 security guards of the Daddy Security Company at the door, the training ground was also full of people who were training, including those who had just been cured by Qin Haodong. They also ran out for recovery training. After Ma Wenjua suddenly ran out, he immediately became the focus of the whole audience. Everyone stopped what they were doing and looked at him with dull eyes. "Ha ha ha, why are you all looking at me like this? Do you also know that I'm already the #1 master in the world?" Seeing so many people staring at him, Ma Wenjua felt proud. At this time, Qin Haodong also followed him out of the door and shouted to him, "#1 master, you haven't put on your clothes yet." "Ah." At this time, a cold wind came and Ma Wenjua felt cold all over his body. Only then did he realize that he was naked when he activated his body. He was so excited just now that he forgot to put on his clothes. Although the training ground was full of men at this time, it still made him feel very embarrassed. Oh no, I'm naked now." Chapter 132. Hearing the laughter in the venue, Nalan Wushuang and Qi Wan, the only 2 women in Daddy Security Company, came out. "What's going on? What's everyone laughing at?" Nalan Wushuang asked Qin Haodong. "Nothing. The world's top expert just demonstrated a unique skill for us." Qin Haodong laughed. "Who's the top expert? Where is he?" Qi Wan asked in confusion. Qin Haodong looked back in the direction of the room and said with a smile, "He has gone back to the room. Maybe he just practiced a unique skill and hurt his vitality." At this time, although Ma Wenjua had changed his clothes, he was embarrassed to death when he heard the conversation of these people. He hid in the room and did not dare to show off until Qin Haodong asked him to go to the cafeteria for dinner. The 2 of them were busy from afternoon to evening and had not had dinner yet. Nalan Wushuang and Qi Wan had been waiting for Qin Haodong and had not eaten either. The 4 of them went to the cafeteria together. When they were almost finished, Nalan Wushuang said, "Haodong, what are you going to do with these newcomers?" Qin Haodong put down the bowl and chopsticks, thought for a moment and said, "Their injuries have been cured. Don't they go back?" Nalan Wushuang shook her head and said, "I've already asked. Everyone wants to stay and work for you. On the one hand, these people are good men who know how to repay kindness and want to repay your kindness. On the other hand, although they are skilled, they have honed their skills on the battlefield. If they go home, they will have no place to use their skills. Staying in the security company can give them a chance to show their talents. Moreover, our security company has the best treatment. After going out, they can't find such a good job again. Qin Haodong frowned and said, but at present, our manpower is saturated. If we recruit more people, we can only be idle. After all, the market in Jiangnan is so big, and there are only so many rich people who can afford bodyguards. He was really in a dilemma. It was okay to let these people go back. After all, he had treated their injuries for free, and there was no obligation to arrange work for them. But Qin Haodong considered that these wounded people were once warriors of Huaxia and had made contributions to the country. He really couldn't bear to let them go back. It seemed that Nalan Wushuang saw through Qin Haodong's mind and said, Haodong, have you ever thought about making the security company stronger and bigger in the future and going out of Jiangnan City? Out of Jiangnan City? Qin Haodong was slightly stunned. He really hadn't thought about this problem. The reason why he had set up Daddy's security company was to have enough people to protect the little fellow and Lin Momo. His ambition was medicine. His ultimate ambition was to cure people and develop traditional Chinese medicine. He didn't pay much attention to business. Yes, if we make Daddy's security company bigger and go out of Jiangnan City, then these people can be arranged. Nalan Wushuang said, in fact, this method is completely feasible. After a period of time, there will definitely be other wounded people coming to us one after another. We don't have to worry about manpower at all. Qin Haodong thought for a moment and said, that's a good idea. We can open a branch office in another city, so that we can settle the staff, but where should we go? Ma Wenjue said, if we want to do it, let's do it big. Let's go to the capital. The stage there is bigger and more suitable for us brothers to do business. Qi Weiner said, I grew up in the capital. If I go to the capital to develop the branch of the Daddy Security Company, it is not suitable for the time being. Why do you say that? Qin Haodong asked. Because the water in the capital is too deep. All the big forces are controlled by the aristocratic families. If there is no aristocratic family as the foundation, it will be difficult to develop. Daddy Security Company has just been established, and we are very inexperienced in all aspects. If we enter the capital at this time, it will be a little too hasty. Qin Haodong thought for a moment. What Qi Weiner said was very reasonable. There were too many aristocratic families in the capital, and it was really not suitable for the new Daddy Security Company. He thought for a moment and said, well, let's set the branch of Daddy Security Company in Shanghai. Shanghai is not as complicated as the capital. At the same time, it is also a big city in Huaxia. There is huge room for development. Nalan Wushuang said, Shanghai is really suitable for us, but who should we send to take charge? The Nalan family was a big family in Jiangnan province, and most of its roots were in Jiangnan. The reason why Nalan Wushuang came to preside over the Daddy Security Company was for Qin Haodong. Otherwise, how could a miss of a big family like her come here to be the general manager? Under such circumstances, she naturally did not want to open a branch office in Shanghai. I have already chosen the person in charge. Qin Haodong looked at Ma Wenjue and said with a smile, let's leave it to the world's top expert, Brother Ma. His decision seemed to be very casual, but in fact, it was the result of careful consideration. Ma Wenjue was his life and death brother. There was no need to say more about the degree of trust between them. At the same time, this person seemed to be joking, but in fact, he was very talented. It was just that he had not found a platform to display his talent in recent years. Now that he had activated the Kailan holy body, his cultivation was naturally excellent. In addition, Ma Wenjue's character was extremely tough, and he had a spirit of not admitting defeat. When they were children, they were often bullied, but they never bowed their heads to others. For example, the activation of the holy body just now was definitely a process of torture like purgatory. If it was someone else with a weak will, it was very likely that he would give up halfway, but he endured it without saying a word. Nalan Wushuang and Qi Weiner naturally had no objection to Qin Haodong's decision. The person in charge of the Daddy Security Company's branch office in Shanghai was thus decided. Other personnel were tentatively set as the 100 people who had just been cured, and they would continue to be added in the future. After all, Shanghai was much larger than Jiangnan City, and the market prospects were naturally broader. Nalan Wushuang said, "Now that we have people, the next step is money." Qin Haodong asked, "How much money do you need in the budget?" Nalan Wushuang thought for a moment and said, "Shanghai is not like Jiangnan City. It needs a lot of expenses in all aspects. If we open a security company of the same scale, the preliminary budget is about 200 million. Ma Wenzhuo was shocked and said in surprise, 200 million? So much? I only have 200 yuan in my pocket. Qin Haodong also frowned slightly. He didn't have so much money in his pocket now. Originally, he had 30 million from selling the Xuanda sensor, but he spent 3 or 4 million on a trip back to Wufeng County. Now he only had more than 20 million in his hand, which was still a long way from 200 million. Seeing Qin Haodong was in a dilemma, Nalan Wushuang said, "Now our company has just started operating, and there is not much surplus capital. If you need me to talk to Grandpa, I think 200 million is not a problem." Qi Weiner also said, "I can also help you." Ma Wenzhuo was so surprised that he opened his mouth wide. Not only were these two girls beautiful, but they were also so rich. This was 200 million, not 2,000 yuan. Are you sure you're talking about 200 million yuan, not 200 million rubles? Qin Haodong glared at him and said, "You don't have to worry about money. I'll find a way myself." Ma Wenzhuo widened his eyes and said, "What can you do?" "It's 200 million. It's not enough to sell all your kidneys." Qin Haodong glanced at him and said with a smirk, "Now I'm going to find some rich women over 50 years old, and then I'll rent you out. We'll leave when we have enough money for 2 months. Ma Wenzhuo cried, "Damn it, we are brothers. You don't have to be so cruel. You even want to find women over 50 years old. If you don't want to sell yourself, you should hurry to practice. It's estimated that there are still 3 or 4 days to rest. Don't be unable to control your men at that time." Qin Haodong paused and said, "Also, you must keep the fact that you have the holy body a secret. If you are caught by any country as a guinea pig or possessed by a big man who practices the evil way, don't blame me for not reminding you." Ma Wenzhuo was shocked. Originally, he wanted to show off his Kailan holy body. Hearing this, he immediately dispelled the idea. Qin Haodong did not go back to Lin's villa that night. Instead, he stayed in the security company. He took out the medicinal materials in the storage ring and began to refine the marrow cleansing pill. He wanted to use these days to promote all his men to warriors. In the past, people like Chen Fugue and Zhang Timiu could compete with obvious strength warriors, but in the long run, there was little room for improvement. If they all became warriors, with the support of his own elixirs and cultivation methods, he believed that they would soon become a force that did not belong to any famous sect. Early the next morning, there were 200 more marrow cleansing pills in Qin Haodong's ring. At the same time, he also sorted out a set of cultivation methods suitable for Zhang Timiu and others, named them Tang sect cultivation methods. He gave the marrow cleansing pills and cultivation methods to Nalan Wushuang and asked her to distribute them to the people in the company. Then he drove to Lin's group to work. After entering the company building, Qin Haodong walked to the infirmary. As soon as he walked to the door, he saw that the door was already full of people. They were all the directors and shareholders who had seen him yesterday. After seeing Qin Haodong, these people immediately shouted, "Dr. Qin is here, Dr. Qin is here." Seeing these people waiting for him, he asked, "What's the matter, everyone? Didn't you get better yesterday?" Well, Dr. Qin, we are all very good now. The one who spoke was Wang Gang, the first healer from yesterday. As he spoke, he raised his hand and punched his chest twice to show how strong he was. "What are you doing here?" Qin Haodong asked. Wang Gang said, "Dr. Qin, your physique-improving pill is really a good thing. Those of us who have used it all say it is good. We come here to see if you still have it. We want to buy some." "Yes, Dr. Qin, my father's health is not good. I want to buy one for him, Dr. Qin, my father-in-law has just married a concubine. I also want to buy a pill for him, Dr. Qin, my son has been in poor health since he was a child. Sell me another one, not one, but 10, yes, Dr. Qin, I want to have another son. Sell me 10, these people shouted at once. It turned out that they all came to ask for medicine. Some people wanted to buy a few more for themselves, and some wanted to buy it for their relatives and friends. Qin Haodong's heart skipped a beat. He was short of money now, and these people in front of him were rich. He could sell the physique-improving pill to them. However, he also knew that things were not valuable. Instead of taking out all the pills, he only took out 10 and said to the people in front of him, "Everyone, I'm really sorry. I want this kind of pill. There are only 10 left in my hand. I don't have that many. 10, it's too little." Chapter 133. No problem. This method is fair, all the people present were rich. They often participated in various auctions. They were familiar with this form of auction and had no objection. Qin Haodong said, "Well, I'll auction the first elixir now. The starting price is 100,000 yuan. Each bid should be no less than 100,000 yuan. Start now. I'll pay 500,000 yuan." A shareholder who had begun to lose his hair directly shouted the price to 500,000 yuan. Yesterday, he took a physique-improving pill. This morning, he was surprised to find that a layer of hairy hair grew where his hair fell. Although it was still very short, it gave him hope after all. The more people lacked something, the more they cherished it. Now he was eager to grow a head of black and lush hair, so he was determined to get this physique-improving pill. But obviously, this price obviously did not scare other shareholders. "I'll pay 800,000 yuan. Someone immediately refreshed the price. He shouted. "I'll pay 1 million yuan, 1. 2 million yuan, 1. 5 million yuan, I'll pay 2 million yuan. After this shout, no one else raised the price. After all, 2 million yuan had reached a high level. Qin Haodong had already taken out a wash basin from the office. After asking several times to confirm that no one raised the price, he slapped the wash basin and announced, "The elixir belongs to this gentleman." The price of the first elixir rose all the way and finally stopped at 2 million yuan. The buyer was the bald shareholder. He happily filled a check of 2 million yuan and handed it to Qin Haodong. Then he put the elixir in his pocket. Zhang Jijie helped Qin Haodong. When he saw that an elixir sold for 2 million yuan, his eyeballs almost popped out of his eye sockets. He did not know the value of this physique-improving pill. The elixir from the hands of Emperor Greenwood, even if it was a low-level one, was priceless. At the end of the first auction, other shareholders were not discouraged. After all, this was only the first of 10 elixirs. There were 9 more. Maybe the price of the next one would be lower. In fact, this kind of auction could only make the price higher and higher. The second elixir was soon sold and finally sold for 2.8 million yuan. The auction here was in full swing. On the other floor of the group building, Zhao Zhongchen came to Lin Jigao's office excitedly. Lin Jigao just asked the female secretary to make a cup of tea for him. He saw Zhao Zhongchen push the door and come in with a happy face. He couldn't help asking, "Old Zhao, why are you so happy? Did something good happen?" "Of course it's good news." Zhao Zhongchen was a regular here. He waved his hand to let the secretary go out, and then said in a low voice, "Brother, do you know how many times I came here last night?" "What do you mean?" "What do you mean a few times?" Lin Zhigao didn't react for a moment. "It's the female college student I just found," Zhao Zhongchen said excitedly. "Old Zhao, is there a need to guess? At our age, it's already good enough to have one, and we still have to rely on the effects of small pills." "Brother, you're wrong. I came here 3 times last night, and I didn't take any medicine," Zhao Zhongchen said and stretched out 3 fingers excitedly. Lin Zhigao was stunned for a moment and then said, "Old Zhao, we all know each other. There's no point in bragging to me about this." "I'm not bragging. I'm telling the truth," Zhao Zhongchen said. "Yesterday, when Qin Haodong treated patients, everyone was given a physique-improving pill. My nephew also went there. He brought back 2 pills and gave one to me. Guess what happened after I took it?" Lin Zhigao said impatiently. "Well, don't keep me guessing. Just tell me." Zhao Zhongchen smiled and said, "It's lucky that we didn't drive the boy surnamed Lin out yesterday. His medical skills are really good. After taking the physique-improving pill, I feel as if I'm 20 years old again. I'm full of strength and spirit. Especially after going to bed, I was so powerful. The little girl was tamed by me. It was really fun." After he said that, he laughed. For an old man of his age, there was nothing more refreshing than reviving his masculinity. "You're not lying to me, are you? Is a pill so magical?" Lin Zhigao asked with some disbelief. "Brother, how can I lie to you about this?" In order to prove that he was not lying, Zhao Zhongchen turned to a large flower pot next to him. This large porcelain flower pot, together with the soil inside and the flowers on it, could weigh about 70 or 80 kilograms. He reached out and picked it up, and then gently put it down. He clapped his hands and turned to Lin Zhigao and said, "Brother, you see, I'm in good health now. My waist is not sore, my legs are not painful, and I have the strength to go to bed." "Really?" Lin Zhigao sat up from the sofa and asked expectantly, "Is there any physique-improving pill for me?" "I don't have it. Yesterday, my nephew asked for 2. We have eaten up 1 each. If you want it, you have to go to Qin Haodong." "Well, let's go now," Lin Zhigao said and hurried out of the office. Last night, his wife kept asking him to pay for it, but the warehouse was empty. Even the small blue pills that he used in the past had no effect, which made his wife very dissatisfied. Now hearing Zhao Zhongchen say that there was such a good thing, how could he not be anxious? Zhao Zhongchen followed Lin Zhigao, and they walked together in the direction of the infirmary. As soon as they arrived at the door, they saw a lot of people gathered there. They were all directors and shareholders of their group. It looked very lively. Qin Haodong was in a good mood. He had just auctioned 9 physique-improving pills in succession, and the price of each one was higher than the previous one. The last one was sold at a high price of 8 million yuan. He held the last pill in his hand and said loudly, "Everyone, this is the last physique-improving pill. Everyone should seize the opportunity." Just then, someone shouted, "Don't bid anymore. I want this pill." Those shareholders who didn't get the pill were waiting for the final auction. Hearing someone being so domineering, they all looked back with dissatisfaction. When they saw Lin Zhigao coming, they suddenly stopped talking. After all, this was Lin's group, and Lin Zhigao was the uncle of the president, the major shareholder of the company. His status was much more special than theirs. Qin Haodong glanced at Lin Zhigao, who was arrogant and couldn't help sneering. He didn't like the old man who had just made trouble for his woman yesterday. Lin Zhigao and Zhao Zhongchen squeezed into the crowd and came to Qin Haodong. He pointed to the physique-improving pill in his hand and said, "I want this pill." Qin Haodong said with a smile, "If you want it, you can bid the highest price in the auction." "What? You want me to participate in the auction? Don't you know who I am?" Lin Zhigao said with his chin raised. Zhao Zhongchen quickly added, Qin Haodong, this is Director Lin Zhigao, one of the major shareholders of our Lin's group. How can you let him participate in the auction? Qin Haodong said, all the directors and shareholders of Lin's group are here to participate in the auction. What's special about him? Lin Zhigao thought that Qin Haodong would obediently hand over the physique-improving pill after knowing his identity. He didn't expect that the young man didn't take him seriously at all. He couldn't help saying angrily, can I be the same as them? I am a member of the Lin family, and I have 10% of the shares. 10%, that's a lot. Qin Haodong exclaimed, but when Lin Zhigao just showed a trace of pride, he said, so what? What does it have to do with me even if you have 50% of the shares? Well, I'm not an unreasonable person. As long as you give me 1% of the shares, you can take the physique-improving pill immediately. 1% of the shares? Lin Zhigao almost choked to death by his own saliva. 1% of the market value of Lin's group was worth hundreds of millions. Was this pill made of gold? Even gold was not so expensive. Seeing that Qin Haodong didn't give face to him, a major shareholder, Lin Zhigao took a deep breath, calmed down his anger, and said, don't forget that I'm Momo's uncle. Aren't you in love with her? Don't you give me face? Qin Haodong sneered secretly. At this time, he remembered that he was Momo's uncle. Why didn't he say that he was Momo's uncle when he secretly played tricks with his son yesterday? So what? I'm really in love with Momo, and our relationship is very stable, but we haven't got the certificate yet. In the legal sense, we have no family relationship. You. Lin Zhigao was so angry that his face turned red. He said angrily, Qin Haodong, do you mean to not give me face? Qin Haodong still had an irritating smile on his face. He said lightly, you are a director of the group and also a member of the Lin family. I have to give you face. But my physique-improving pill is for sale. I can't exchange it with face. Lin Zhigao was furious. He pointed at Qin Haodong's nose and shouted, boy, you're fired. Pack up your things and get out of here. Old Lin, I want to ask, in what capacity did you fire me? Qin Haodong asked with a smile. I'm a director of the group, holding 10% of the shares. Can't I fire a little doctor like you? Of course not. The director of the group has no power to directly manage the employees. It's the president who will fire me. If you really want to drive me away, hold a board meeting and let everyone vote. Let's see how many people will vote with you. You. Lin Zhigao was so angry that he couldn't speak. The group directors around him all looked at the pill in Qin Haodong's hand. They could guess the result of the vote even if they thought with their heels. At this time, Zhao Zhongchen said, Qin Haodong, you are also the group's healthcare doctor. It's natural for you to treat Mr. Lin. Why can't I ask for a pill from you? Lin Zhigao shouted, that's right. Since you are still an employee of the group, you should serve me. Qin Haodong said, I can serve you and treat you, but I have to use the resources of the group and the drugs of the group. You can choose any medicine in the infirmary and take them all. But this physique-improving pill is my personal property. I have no obligation to give it to you. Zhao Zhongchen and Lin Zhigao were suddenly speechless. Qin Haodong was right. Although he was an employee of the group, it was impossible for him to take his own pills. Well, it's just an auction. I can buy it. It's not a big deal to spend 100,000 yuan. After Lin Zhigao finished speaking, he turned to the other shareholders and said, this pill is mine. Don't compete with me. The other shareholders looked at each other. Anyway, Lin Zhigao had a great say in the group. After that, it was natural that no one competed with him. Lin Zhigao was very satisfied with this effect. He turned to Qin Haodong and said, well, you start the auction. Qin Haodong smiled slightly. This old guy wanted to play dirty with him, but there was no way. Chapter 134. Lin Zhigao staggered and almost fell to the ground. He looked up at Qin Haodong and shouted, "Isn't the starting price 100,000 yuan? How did it become 10 million? Qin Haodong said with a smile, "I decide my pills. I can sell them for as much as I want, and this is the last one. If you don't buy it, there will be no chance in the future." You. Lin Zhigao trembled with anger. He really wanted to turn around and leave, but he was reluctant to give up the little pill in front of him. Just now Zhao Zhongchen said that it was okay to take it 3 times in one night. But if Hua Zhen spent 10 million to buy this physique-improving pill, he was not reconciled. Qin Haodong ignored Lin Zhigao, whose eyes were full of anger, and said to others, "The auction has begun. If anyone wants to buy it, hurry up. After a minute, I will announce that there is no auction, and you can't buy it even if you want to." A shareholder who had not yet bid for the pill came to Lin Zhigao's ear and whispered, "Director Lin, do you buy it or not? If you don't buy it, I will bid." "Buy it, why not? Isn't it just 10 million? I have money." Finally, Lin Zhigao chose to give in. He took out the checkbook from his pocket, wrote a check for 10 million and sent it to Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong took the check and shook it. He turned to look at others and said, "Everyone, is there anyone who wants to increase the price?" When others saw that Lin Zhigao really took out 10 million, they didn't say anything. The price of 10 million was really expensive, and they didn't want to offend Lin Zhigao completely because of this. "Well, since no one wants to increase the price, this pill is Director Lin's." Qin Haodong banged on the basin, and then handed the physique-improving pill to Lin Zhigao. Lin Zhigao snorted, took the pill, turned around, and left. He had just lost face again and again. How could he stay here? The rest of the shareholders looked at Qin Haodong with complicated expressions. Just now, the young man had a smile on his face and didn't even speak loudly, but he gave people a domineering feeling. He suppressed Lin Zhigao so much that he couldn't even lift his head. In the end, Lin Zhigao bought a pill at a high price of 10 million yuan. The physique-improving pill had been auctioned off. It was meaningless for others to stay here, so they left the infirmary one after another. "Brother Qin, take a seat." Zhang Jijie invited Qin Haodong to sit down, and then made him a cup of tea and put it in front of him. At this time, he admired the young man in front of him. They were both doctors, but Qin Haodong could earn tens of millions of yuan by casually moving his fingers, while he only earned a few thousand yuan a month. He pulled a chair and sat in front of Qin Haodong. He said flatteringly, "Brother Qin, who did you learn your medical skills from? Can you teach Big Brother a thing or two? I don't need to sell a pill for 10 million yuan, 1,000 yuan will do." Qin Haodong smiled. He knew what Zhang Jijie was thinking and said, "You can't learn my medical skills." "Oh." Zhang Jijie agreed with a look of disappointment. In his opinion, it was not that he couldn't learn it, but that Qin Haodong didn't want to teach him. But it was normal. No one would casually teach such amazing medical skills to others. "You can't learn my medical skills, but I can give you a pill." Qin Haodong had a good impression of Zhang Jijie. He took out a physique-improving pill from the storage ring and gave it to him. This is for me?" Zhang Jijie couldn't believe it. He had just seen the value of this small pill with his own eyes. It was 10 million yuan for one pill, which was more expensive than gold. "Of course it's for you. Eat it quickly." Qin Haodong said again, "Don't think about selling it. If others know that you have this kind of medicine, there may be trouble." "Oh, I see." Zhang Jijie looked at the physique-improving pill in his hand. He made up his mind and raised his hand to throw it into his mouth. At this time, his mood was extremely complicated. He was both excited and heartbroken. It was 10 million yuan, and he just ate it. Originally, he wanted to savor the taste of the pill, which was worth 10 million yuan. Unexpectedly, the physique-improving pill melted in his mouth and flowed into his stomach with his saliva. Soon, He felt that his whole body was as if it had been reborn, and his whole body was full of strength. Most modern people were in a subhealthy state. In addition, they used electronic products for a long time, so they had cervical spondylosis, dry eyes, and all kinds of discomfort. Especially fat people like Zhang Jijia, who had high blood pressure, high blood fat, and high blood sugar. But at this moment, these discomforts were completely swept away, followed by 100 times more energy. Magic medicine, elixir, it's really good stuff. Zhang Jijia said to Qin Haodong excitedly, "Brother Qin, thank you very much." "Thank you so much." Qin Haodong waved his hand and said carelessly, "We are colleagues. It's just a pill. It's not a big deal." Zhang Jijia knew the value of the physique-improving pill. After expressing his gratitude again and again, he asked, "By the way, Brother Qin, didn't you say that it was the last 10 pills? Why are there still more?" Qin Haodong said with a smile, "This is my thing. How can I not keep some for myself?" "Got it, I got it." Zhang Jijia was also a smart man. He immediately understood Qin Haodong's intention. If he had just taken out all the pills to meet everyone's needs, he might not have been able to sell them for so much money. That was the truth. The rarer something is, the greater its value. After seeing through this, he admired this young man more and more. At this time, Qin Haodong's phone on the table rang. He glanced at it and found a series of strange numbers. Not only did he not know them, but they were not Huaxia phone numbers. After a while, he pressed the answer button and heard someone on the other side of the phone say in stiff Huaxia language, "Hello, teacher, I'm Jean." Jean? Qin Haodong suddenly confused himself. He couldn't figure out who this Jean was. The person on the other side of the phone continued, "Dear teacher, have you forgotten me? I'm James from the World Medical Association." Qin Haodong remembered that when he went to treat Nailan Jia last time, he met James, a cardiopulmonary expert from the World Medical Association. At that time, he accepted him as a registered apprentice, but he almost forgot about it. He said, "It's you. Why didn't you tell me your full name? Why did you call me Jean?" "Teacher, don't Huaxia people like to talk like this?" "What Zhang, Li? My name is James." "Shouldn't it be Jean?" James said excitedly, "Teacher, I've been learning Huaxia language and culture with my wife at home recently. What do you think of what I'm saying now?" Qin Haodong was secretly amused. This foreigner was really serious. He said, "Not bad. Why did you call me?" James was very happy to be praised by Qin Haodong. He said, "Well, teacher, I have an important patient here. I want to ask you to treat him. Do you have time to come to M country? This patient is very rich. If you agree, you can ask for as much as you want." Now that the matter of Lin's group had not been dealt with, Qin Haodong naturally couldn't leave. He said, "No, I'm very busy recently. I don't have time to go there. If he wants to see a doctor, let him come to Huaxia." "Well, I'll ask the patient now and see if he can agree." James said. "Who is this patient? Do you even keep his name a secret?" Qin Haodong asked with some dissatisfaction. "I'm sorry, teacher. This gentleman's status is very distinguished. I really can't reveal his personal privacy without his consent." James said apologetically. "It's up to you. If he wants to see a doctor, he can come to Huaxia." The person who could make James so careful was definitely not an ordinary person. However, Qin Haodong was not interested in this. Even if that person was a head of state or a prince, in his eyes, he was just an ordinary patient. James hung up the phone, but soon called back. "Teacher, I've already asked that gentleman. I can tell you his identity. He is Old Maldini from M country." Old Maldini? This name stirred a wave in Qin Haodong's heart. Although he didn't pay attention to financial news, he had heard about Old Maldini. This old man was definitely an influential figure in M country and even the whole world. He controlled hundreds of billions of dollars. He could easily collapse the economy of some small countries with a flick of his finger. His power was so great that he could even influence the presidential election of M country. Old Maldini had amazing wealth. At his level, making money was easier than eating. A few months ago, a rich man in an oil kingdom offered a high price of $1 million to have lunch with old Maldini. This showed how valuable this old man was. His hair could be a gold bar. Because of this, he understood why James wanted to keep it a secret just now. For an important figure like old Maldini, even a sneeze would cause fluctuations in the stock market. If the news that he came to Huaxia for medical treatment was spread out, the impact would be huge. In James's impression, Qin Haodong would immediately scream or at least express surprise when he heard the name of old Maldini. However, Qin Haodong's calm reaction was beyond his expectation. "Teacher, are you listening to me?" "Oh. Yes, old Maldini wants to see a doctor." "Let him come." James said. Mr. Old Maldini has sent his butler to Huaxia to make preparations. We will set off from M country tomorrow morning and are expected to arrive in Jiangnan City in Huaxia in the afternoon. At the same time, Mr. Maldini's assistant has also contacted the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Huaxia. I believe that someone from the Ministry of Health of Jiangnan City will contact you soon. It's just to see a doctor. Is it necessary to go through so much trouble? Qin Haodong said. James hurriedly explained, "Teacher, I hope you can understand. Mr. Old Maldini's time is very precious. Almost every minute and every second is precisely calculated. Although your medical skills are excellent, you still need to use some hospital equipment when seeing a doctor. So you have to contact the Ministry of Health first. In addition, the news of Mr. Old Maldini's illness can't be leaked, otherwise the stock market of M country will immediately change. So you have to go to Huaxia in the name of attending an economic forum, which needs to be well communicated with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Huaxia." Qin Haodong understood this. He once read a topic in a magazine about whether to pick up the $300 that old Maldini dropped on the ground or not. The answer was no, because the value created by the time he bent down to pick up the money was far greater than the $300. He said, "Do whatever you want. I'll go and see him then." "Teacher, don't worry about this. Mr. Kyukok, old Maldini's butler, has already gone to Huaxia. He will arrange everything by then." Chapter 135. James said, "Here's the thing, teacher. Old Maldini often has severe headaches recently, which have affected his normal work. After the examination of the experts of our World Medical Association, it was confirmed that there was a tumor in his brain, which caused nerve pain because of the tumor. The tumor was not too big, smaller than a ping-pong ball. It was benign. It was very easy for ordinary people to treat it, as long as the tumor was removed. But now it was old Maldini who was suffering from the disease. He was 81 years old this year. There was bound to be some risk in the operation at such an old age. Moreover, Mr. Maldini had to keep his mind clear all the time, so he was very resistant to the use of anesthetics. Without anesthetics, the operation could not be completed at all. In addition, if the operation is performed, it will take a long time to recover. Mr. Maldini's fund and M country's economy will not be able to bear it, and it will even cause a great shock to the global economy. So this operation can't be performed unless it's a last resort." James paused and continued, "During this period, all the experts of the World Medical Association have discussed old Maldini's condition, but no one can do anything about it. Since I saw your magical medical skills some time ago, I recommended traditional Chinese medicine to old Maldini. Mr. Old Maldini likes the culture of Huaxia very much and does not reject traditional Chinese medicine, so he accepted my proposal and is ready to come to Huaxia to see you." After a detailed introduction, Qin Haodong understood the whole story. He thought to himself that a celebrity was really a celebrity. It was so troublesome to see a doctor. James asked, "Teacher, do you have a treatment plan for Mr. Maldini's disease?" The prerequisite is not to use anesthetics to keep his mind clear. He was very concerned about this. If even Chin Haodong had no solution, then this trip would be in vain. "Don't worry, it's just a small tumor. It's easy to deal with." Chin Haodong's words immediately excited James. If someone else had said this, he might have doubted it, but at this time, he had no doubt about Chin Haodong's medical skills. After hanging up the phone, Chin Haodong began to be busy again. Knowing that he had returned to work in the infirmary, all the employees in the group began to come to see him. After a busy day, the next day was the weekend. However, Lin Momo was too busy with the group's work and had to work overtime, so Chin Haodong took care of the little fellow. He had no problem with this and enjoyed the time with his daughter very much. After breakfast, he drove Tang Tang, Dumao and Ermao out to play. He took the little fellow to the green space in the suburbs to fly kites and play football. The father and daughter had a great time playing with the two dogs. Although it had only been half a month, Dumao and Ermao had grown a lot. They were more than half a meter tall and much stronger than ordinary dogs. Even the little fellow could run wildly on their backs. Gao Song, the deputy director of the health bureau, was on duty today. The health bureau was different from the police station. Usually, there was nothing to do during holidays. The reason why the leaders were on duty was to prevent unexpected incidents. Gao Song had been on duty for several years, and nothing had happened. Today, he was sitting in the office, drinking tea and watching TV. Suddenly, the phone in the duty room rang. At first, he didn't pay much attention to it. He glanced at the caller ID and saw that it was the phone number of Director Pan Gaofeng. He quickly grabbed the phone. "Chief, I'm Xiao Gao. Do you have any instructions?" Although he was the deputy director, he was much worse than Director Pan Gaofeng in both rank and experience, so he was very respectful on the phone. On the other side of the phone, Pan Gaofeng said eagerly, "I just received a notice from the Provincial Department of Sanity that old Maldini from M country will come to Jiangnan City for medical treatment soon." "What? Old Maldini came to Jiangnan City to see a doctor? How is that possible?" Although Gao Song worked in the health system, he still knew Maldini's reputation. He was a big shot in the world. If he was sick, there were many famous doctors in the world who would rush to see him. How could he come to Jiangnan City? Pan Gaofeng said, "I have received a clear notice from the Provincial Department of Sanity. At the same time, the director also called me. This news can't be wrong. You don't have to doubt it and pay attention to confidentiality. Not many people know about this. Don't leak the news of Maldini's illness." "Chief, don't worry. I will do a good job of confidentiality," Gao Song said quickly. As a leading cadre of the health system, he still knew this kind of confidentiality discipline. He asked again, "Director, what do you need me to do?" Pan Gaofeng said, "I'm going to Jiangnan Hospital now to prepare for the reception. You immediately contact a college student named Chin Haodong and take him to Jiangnan Hospital to treat Maldini. Remember, you must pick him up in person. Now I will tell you his personal situation and phone number. Write it down quickly. Don't make a mistake." Just now, the Provincial Department of Sanity informed that Maldini and his party would arrive in Jiangnan City in the afternoon. The preparation time was very short, so Pan Gaofeng was very anxious. He immediately hung up the phone after saying the main thing. Gao Song put down the phone and looked at the information in his hand with a disdainful smile. Chin Haodong, a senior student of Jiangnan Medical University, had interned in Jiangnan Hospital. What kind of person was old Maldini? He could make the financial world tremble with a stamp of his foot. How could such a big shot find an intern who had not graduated to treat him? The director must have drunk too much, or it was a slip of the tongue. How could this happen? According to Gao Song's guess, the reason why he needed to take Qin Haodong to the hospital was that he needed to do some preliminary preparation or auxiliary work. But it was impossible for him to treat old Maldini. For a nobody like him, it was a great blessing for his ancestors to even see Maldini. Thinking of this, he directly picked up the phone on the table and dialed Qin Haodong's phone number. Although Pan Gaofeng just told him to pick him up in person, Gao Song didn't take it seriously at all. What a joke! He was the deputy director of the sanitary bureau, a deputy county cadre. Qin Haodong was just a college student who had not graduated. How could the deputy director pick him up in person? In particular, Qin Haodong was a medical student. The medical qualification certificate of a medical university graduate needed to be issued by the sanitary bureau. Whether he opened a clinic or worked in a hospital in the future, his job was in the hands of the sanitary bureau. He was a real power figure in the sanitary bureau, which made Gao Song feel particularly superior to Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong played with the little fellow very happily. Near noon, the mobile phone in his pocket suddenly rang. He let the little fellow play with Damao and Ermao on the grass, and he picked up the phone. "Hello, are you Qin Haodong?" Gao Song was not polite to Qin Haodong at all. It turned out that he was used to being arrogant in daily life. At this time, he really didn't pay attention to a student. Qin Haodong frowned slightly and said, "I am Qin Haodong." Gao Song said, "Come to my office right away." "Be quick." Hearing what the other party said, Qin Haodong hung up the phone directly. He didn't even have the interest to continue talking to this self-righteous guy. Gao Song was speaking arrogantly. Suddenly, there was a beep from the phone. He couldn't believe his ears. A little medical university student dared to hang up the deputy director's phone. There must be a problem with the signal, or he doesn't know that he is the deputy director. Finding a suitable reason for himself, Gao Song dialed Qin Haodong's phone again. Seeing that it was still the same phone number, Qin Haodong hung up the phone directly. This time, Gao Song was even more furious. It was clear that it was not a bad signal, but the other party really hung up his phone. If it was in normal times, he would not call this number anymore. Later, he would use his own means to make the other party apologize to him. But now the situation was urgent and he had no time to think about it. He could only dial Qin Haodong's number again. Seeing that the other party called him again and again, Qin Haodong felt a burst of annoyance. If he was not afraid that Lin Momo could not find him later, he would directly turn off the phone. At this time, the little fellow ran over with sweat on her head and cried, "Papa, your phone is ringing. Answer it quickly." In desperation, Qin Haodong pressed the answer button. As soon as the phone was connected, he heard an angry roar over there. "Boy, do you know who I am? I am Gao Song, the deputy director of the sanitary bureau. How dare you hang up on me? Believe it or not, I will." Gao Song finally found a chance to vent his anger. But before he could show off his power as the deputy director, there was a beep from the other side of the phone. This time, Qin Haodong was not polite. He not only hung up the phone of the self-proclaimed deputy director, but also put him on the blacklist. Although he knew that the fool on the phone was the deputy director of the sanitary bureau, what could he do? He still would not put him in Emperor Greenwood's eyes. He had roamed the cultivation world for so many years, and he had always been respectful to others. If he asked nicely, even if it was a flower beggar on the roadside, he would give full respect. However, if it was someone who pretended to be pretentious like today, he would slap him even if he was the Emperor of Heaven. Gao Song looked at the black screen in his hand. He was so angry that he almost went crazy. Then he slowly calmed down and began to call Qin Haodong's number again, but found that he could not get through at all. He grabbed the office phone of the duty room on the table and dialed Qin Haodong's number again. After the phone was connected, he cried, "Boy, did you hear it? I am Gao Song, the deputy director of the sanitary bureau. If you dare to hang up on me again." Before he could say the threat, there was a busy tone from the other side of the phone, and then he could not get through again. Obviously, he was put on the blacklist again. Gao Song was a little dumbfounded. Just now, director Pan Gaofeng had repeatedly told him to take Qin Haodong to the hospital. In this situation, he didn't even know where Qin Haodong was. How could he find him? However, he naturally did not dare to tell Pan Gaofeng about this situation. After thinking about it, in order to find Qin Haodong, he called a classmate of the Public Security Bureau and located Qin Haodong's location by technical means. Then he drove there in a hurry. Qin Haodong played with the little fellow on the green space for a while. Looking at his daughter, who was already tired and sweating, he said, "Tang Tang, you must be tired. We should go back to eat." "Okay." Tang Tang is hungry. Dumao and Ermao are also hungry. Qin Haodong took out a towel and wiped the sweat on the little fellow's head. When he was about to get on the car with her, a black Audi A6 came quickly and stopped in front of Qin Haodong with a cloud of dust. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.